for the men's 800 metres B race.
Well, good day to you wherever you're watching, and a very warm welcome to Manchester. You are now watching 2 or 3 hours of the BoXX United World Athletics Continental Tour Silver Meeting, coming to you from the Manchester Regional Arena, right alongside the Etihad Stadium, the Manchester City Football Arena. This is a rather glorious facility. It looks brand new. It's a blue track. The sun is beaming down on Manchester on this Friday afternoon. We woke to a little bit of rain and grey skies. I went out for a jog this morning along the canals, and it was only about, I suppose 13 or 14 degrees, but now it's probably 24, 25 degrees in blazing sunshine here in Manchester. Myself, Tim Hutchings, with you now for the next couple of hours and more. And Jenny Meadows, of course, a multiple medalist at 800 metres at world class in recent years. Jenny's just been retired for 2 or 3 years now, Jenny?
Oh, Tim, you're far too kind for me. Make it 6.
Oh, time flies. You can see the temperature 17 degrees centigrade, humidity 54%. It's actually rather glorious. There's a slight breeze across the arena here in Manchester. But Jenny, these are almost perfect conditions.
They are. There's not many times since I retired, Tim, that I actually think I would like to take to the track, but a beautiful day here in Manchester. Pretty sure it's actually hotter than 17 degrees, but here is our programme for the day.
Yes, those women's 100-metre hurdles heats have already taken place. We've got a cracking final lined up for you shortly, at men's 400 as well. The men's 800, that's a B race about to get underway in front of us. But the middle distance action, the speedsters in action, and field event action are plenty here. It's of the very highest quality right the way through to mid-evening. And whether you like your throwing, your jumping, your sprinting, your hurdling, or your middle distance action, or indeed 5,000 metre races for men and women in this session, as well as a women's steeplechase, it's all here coming at you at this BoXX United Manchester World Athletics Silver Meeting. Here in the UK, we tend to make merry on Manchester being in the northwest of England, and it's a city that gets a lot of rain coming off the Atlantic. The Gulf Stream is a warm effect on the west of the British Isles, but it does create a lot of rain. But this is a truly superb afternoon for what is promising to be great, with and the indoor arena actually behind us, adjacent to this outdoor track, was heaving with athletes warming up in the shade because it's so hot outside. They're actually using the indoor facility to warm up. Jenny, what in particular are you looking forward to over this next couple of hours?
Well, Diane Modahl, the race director, has really managed to put on a really great meet. Of course, it's now been promoted to a World Athletics Continental Tour Silver, and the men's 1500 metres, Tim, that's got to be one of the standouts for me. Lots of Olympians in that lineup, and the fastest guy in the field, 3:31 personal best. So the World Athletics qualifier is 3:35, and they're hoping that quite a few of these men can get under that here this afternoon.
Well, the first of 5 field events that will get underway here is the women's hammer. It's a high caliber competition with a lot of boasting rights up for grabs, in particular from a British perspective. But this due underway in about 3 or 4 minutes, and look out in particular for Katie Head against Charlotte Payne, vying for British boasting rights. But Rosa Loga of France is a 71-metre thrower, holds the French under-20 record, and Katrine Jacobsen of Denmark, also very strong indeed. She's a 70-metre 33 thrower. So a lot to look forward to in that one. Loga and Jacobsen will be the last 2 in the throwing order from the 10 competitors.
Yeah, it makes good reading, doesn't it, that hammer throw? We've got a great alignment of women taking part in this competition, but Tim, it has to be said, we've got some really good competition from a British perspective as well. We've got Katie Head, Charlotte Payne and Jessica Mayo. I make it that they're the actual 3rd, 4th and 5th on the British all-time list. So really interesting to see how they'll go head to head.
Get ready to welcome the throwers in throwing order in the women's hammer. Throwing up one, she said a personal best.
Well, let's take a look at this field in the women's hammer. Kaylee Presswell, former Southern champion. Personal best this year is 65 meters 11. She will throw first. Kira Vananen of Finland will be next to throw. Bronze medalist in European under-23 last year. And the Slovakian Veronika Kanukova is a 69-meter thrower at her best. 66 meters this year. She's the silver medalist in the Slovak Championship last year, and they love their big throws out there. Mariana Marcelino of Brazil will be fourth in the throwing order. Brazilian record holder, 3 times the South American champion. And Jessica Mayo goes next in the order, the fifth thrower. Twice UK champion. She's a 69-meter thrower at her best. That was last year. She's already thrown 68 this year. Charlotte Payne, fourth in the European under-20s last year. She's improved 5 meters already this year to 69.58. Vanessa Serkendries of Belgium is a 69-meter thrower last year and has been very close to her personal best this season, the 4-time Belgian champion. Katie Head goes 8th in the throwing order. She's a 69.72 thrower. Won the Loughborough International just last week. And Rose Loga of France is a 71-meter thrower. Second in the World Junior Championships last year in Nairobi. And from Denmark, Katrine Jacobsen is a 71-meter thrower at her absolute best. That was last year, and she's thrown within less than a meter of that this year. She's warming well to the task for what is a big summer in 2022. Of course, those World Championships now some 6 weeks away, and then a week's break and the Commonwealth Games for some nations, and then another week's break, and then those European Championships in Munich make it a uniquely busy summer for all the best athletes in the world who make those teams. Next action on the track is the women's 5,000 meters. They're warming up on the back straight as we see Kaylee Presswell into the circle. And Jenny, you know, several British athletes here, all of them throwing really well at the moment.
They are. This is just such a strong event now for Great Britain. So much in-depth quality. That World Championships, which is in Eugene in Oregon, over in the States in around about 5 weeks' time. The qualification standard for that is way in excess of 70 metres, 72.50. And in fact, one British woman ever in history, Sophie Hitchen, who got the bronze medal in Rio, the Olympic Games in 2016. She is the only woman, British woman, ever to surpass that mark. But we have talked about that strength in depth. And there we are for Kaylee Presswell, 58.62. She opens just under that 60-metre mark. But Tim, you know, we have got those British Championships and we've got all the national championships where these throwers have got to obviously earn their place on that team, their respective team for that World Championships. But as you said, there is the European Championships, there is the Commonwealth Games as well. So a lot of these women, you know, we're now in June, May has been and gone, and they'll definitely be hoping that they can start reaching their peak in the next couple of weeks ahead of those various national championships. Well, Vanagan there of Finland, she's opened her campaign. That was her first throw. We're just waiting for her score to come up, and there it is, 62.15. That's a couple of meters short of her personal best and season's best of 66.99. We can see the officials out there. They work really, really hard. This is the Slovakian athlete, Kana Kucheva. She's the third athlete to go in this women's hammer throw. You can see that electronic measuring device. We've got a tape there for backup as well, Tim, but really interesting to see how things have moved on the last few years, and unfortunately that was a foul in the first round.
Well, next to throw, this is Mariana Marcelino of Brazil. The Brazilian record holder with 68.35. We think this is her first competition of the year. We don't have a mark for her for 2022. But she's got a good temperament for the big events. 3-time South American champion. Longest throw in the world this year is 79 meters by Brooke Anderson of the USA. But to get into the top 10 today, these ladies are going to have to go beyond 73 meters. It's an evolving event. 60.56, a modest opener for Marcelina, but she gets a mark on the board.
So Jessica Mayo it is, who's next into the circle. 68.11 she's opened up with so far this year. And she's part of that cohort of British talent in this event. 69.44, her personal best from last year. Anna Purchase, she's currently top of the UK rankings with 70.63. She's based over in the States, studying over there. And what has Jessica Mayo done in that first round? Well, really beautiful conditions. We keep talking about that. Well, it's a little bit short of her best so far, 64.86. And here we go, moving on to the next athlete, a young athlete, Charlotte Payne. Tim's already said she has improved 5 meters since last year. She agonisingly missed out on a medal at the European Junior Championships last year. She was indeed one of the team captains. And I know she was really honoured to be given that representation last year. So 69.58 she's gone, thrown all the way out, just under 70 metres. How she would love to see a 7 in front of her name. Oh, and 61.78. So none of these women are showing much in the first round, Tim?
Well, I'm sure they'll warm to the task. Next to go is Vanessa Sterkendries of Belgium. Belgian record holder. She's a 69.42 thrower this year, and her lifetime best from a couple of years ago is 69.91. So she's within half a metre of her best ever this season. And that gives you a good reason to believe she can throw well. She knows she's in virtually the form of her life. Belgian record holder 4 times, their champion Sterkendries, and nobody's really hit the straps yet. There's an opportunity here to shock the field with a big opening effort. 62.62, so another fairly modest effort for a 69-metre thrower.
Katie Head from Great Britain. She's second in the UK rankings this year with 69.72. And that puts her the 3rd furthest thrower in this event all time in the British rankings. Really good that we can get this competition underway and really hurriedly through all the events, not having to have that tape measure, so we can get going pretty quickly. Literally one event after the other, one athlete after the other, and 62.16 it is in the opening round for Katie Head.
By the way, the meeting record was 61.60 by Katie Head, but Jessica Mayo of Great Britain throwing 64.86 with her opener, so she's set a new meeting record. With that, she will likely lead at the end of this first round, unless Jakobsen can throw better with her opener. Or Loga, the French athlete. 2 to go in that women's hammer first round. Well, the athletes out on the track for the women's 5,000 metres. They're lined up over there on the very far side from where we sit in the finish line. It's a field of athletes who are knocking on the door of sub-50-minute territory. Sarah Chalanga of Uganda, who's run within a few hundredths of a second of breaking 15 minutes. That is the benchmark, really, of real world-class running, over 12.5 laps for the ladies. Just over 3 miles if you want it in a different currency. Emily Thompson will be looking to put up a good performance here. She is the pacemaker in this one, is Thompson, looking to go out to 2 kilometres in 5:59, so just under 15 minutes tempo. Clearly the target for this field, and they will hang on as long as they can, is 15 minutes. They'll be delighted to broach that mark. There's a slight breeze across the arena. We know that from the wind speeds of some of the earlier sprint races over the last half hour, but Jenny, conditions pretty good.
I think they are, and really interesting for us, Tim. It really helps us, doesn't it? Emily Thompson is just about the tallest athlete in the field, and immediately she goes to the front in that red vest, and it really helpfully says pace on it as well. I'm liking this. It's really good for us to be able to cast our eye on this. But a huge field, 19 athletes plus the pacemaker. I think it really shows that these women are really relishing the opportunity. You don't get many opportunities, Tim, in a season. What would you say, as a 5,000 metre athlete, how many realistically would you want to do in a season?
How many 5,000s in a season? Do you know that's a subject of real debate? I know a lot of athletes these days do no more than 2 or 3, but I always used to think about 4 or 5 was about right, maybe 5 or 6. You know, I used to warm to the task. My first couple of 5,000s wouldn't be great, and then I'd gradually sort of get the feel for the event. I'd run sort of 13:40 my first one, 13:30 my second one, and gradually ratchet down to quicker times by about my 4th race over 5,000. But of course, you're mixing it with 3,000s and 1,500s. You're trying to get that blend right, that sort of chemistry right of 5,000's a tough race to get right. I always say this, and I would say this being the next 5,000 metre runner, but it's the meeting ground of middle distance and long distance. So you've got to have that tough sort of concoction of real good speed for middle distance, like a miler, and the strength of a 10,000 metre runner, and it's quite hard to get that blend right. The only wonderful thing about it is once you do get it right, you can run a pretty good 800 and you can run a pretty good half marathon. It's a lovely fitness to have.
Well, I've certainly never had that fitness, Tim, but really good to see Emily Thompson here from the start. Really give these athletes a really good chance of running a good time. And interestingly, Ms. Master of Slovenia, we talked about her, Tim, before we came on air. She's a steeplechaser, and she was actually 6th in the Tokyo steeplechase final. She's won 14 Slovenian titles over all the distances, indoors and outdoors, and she's got a very modest 15:30 as a personal best. So I'm going to say I don't think she does this distance very often, but really great to see her follow that pacemaker. She's behind Emily Thompson. There's a big gap, and I think she's definitely going to revise that today.
No, absolutely right. I mean, you know, when you finish 6th in an Olympic Games steeplechase, and that's a tough event, you have to be really strong to contend with the steeplechase and its physical demands, its psychological demands as well. 2 laps there in 2:25, so the pace going really well. I think that's a good job being done by Emily Thompson. I think, you know, you're right. I think Ms. Mass should be running inside 15 minutes. She's a world-class steeplechaser. She should be quite a long way inside 15 minutes. And to see 15:30 beside her name is, well, it's just inappropriate. You know, you don't become 6th in an Olympic Games middle distance race by being a 15:30 5,000 metre runner. She should be running 40, 50 seconds quicker than that.
Well, she certainly started off really well, and that was the 1,000 metre point in 3:02. So just a couple of seconds shy from what they wanted, but really, really good start. Trying to look further down the field. This field is strung out already. I think that's Diane Modahl from the Netherlands in 2nd place. And again, you would expect that. She has gone under the World Championship qualification standard last year. She got the bronze medal at the European Under-23 Championships, and she represented the Netherlands at that Tokyo Olympic Games. So very much the quality athletes on personal bests are following the early action in this race. As Miss Mass is in 1st place behind the pacemaker, then Van Dess, as we say.
And I think it's Florencia Borelli of Argentina who's in 4th there. 3rd of those who are going to finish the race. She holds the Argentinian record at 15:33 from last year. She's on schedule at the moment, smashed that by a big margin. Wouldn't it be lovely to see some national records set here today? This is such a big season. Every race carries so much more importance for athletes like these, who will be hoping to make their national squads for those World Championships. 9 laps to go, and these 4 beginning to pull away by a pretty big margin. I'm a little surprised more of the pack didn't go with this, at least for the first mile or so. 3.5 laps done, but that pack of, what, about 10 athletes behind. There were several no-shows, actually. At the very last minute, I was handed a note, Jenny, indicating that Annabelle Simpson is a no-starter, Morag Miller is a non-starter, Marta Garcia as well, Jenny Nesbitt.
Well, just breaking back to the hammer throw for now. This is the 2nd round. This is Charlotte Payne, agonisingly just short of 70 metres this year. Can she improve on that first round mark? Well, the first round was 61.78, and that was a no throw. I think we could see that from the almost the dancing of the official there. She was trying to stomp the grass back. And just going back to this race now, and we can see Emily Thompson did a great job. She's gone already though, just before 2,000 meters.
8 laps to go for these athletes. So it looks like they're going to go through 2,000 when they get up to the top end of the back straight, which will be 5 laps. Looks like they're going to be there a little off 6 minutes, a little off 3-minute tempo per kilometre. In fact, that pack are closing now on the leading trio, and closing pretty quickly, I have to say, now that Thompson has done her job, and she did a pretty good job too of tempting those 3 to move along at close to 3 minutes per kilometre. You can see the clock there, well over 6 minutes long before they get to the 2,000 metre point, which is going to be right where they go through a line on the track. There it is, 6:11:20, so that kilometre 3:09. They really have slowed dramatically, Jen.
They have, and they're in this situation now whether they're actually trying to win the race or they want to go for a time. I think I saw it was Rios from Spain who's leading that chasing pack. She set a personal best recently, just a couple of weekends ago at the Birmingham Diamond League. That's 15:34, so she's certainly operating at roundabout personal best time again. But yeah, as you said, Tim, it was 3:02 for the first K, 3:09 for the second K. And I think Borelli is from Argentina, who's found herself, I'm not sure whether it's a reluctant pacemaker, but she certainly looks like she's come here to run a fast time.
Well, the frustrating thing, Jenny, is that, you know, all the hard work of that first kilometre, setting up so nicely for a time, if not under 15 minutes, close to 15 minutes, has sort of been lost with that really slow second kilometre. And Thompson was there for some of it, but not all of it. And Borelli here, well, just looking her best, 15:33. That's roughly what they're on schedule for now, because if they don't pick it up through this third kilometre, they're going to start losing the chance of a time anywhere close to 15 minutes.
Well, if she does get a personal best, it does look like she'll have to work really, really hard for it. Ms. Mass is just sat there. She doesn't intend to do much of the work. Vanessa the same. She's just ghosting the other two, isn't she? I've got to say, Borelli looks like she's working really, really hard. And the other athletes are just appreciating this at the moment. They're just going along for the ride. And you are right, Tim. The pack now, they've closed slightly. It's not extending that gap at the front, and it's certainly not closing. And 6 laps to go, just over 8 minutes.
No, that pack is still within reach. I mean, this gap's what? The gap's what, about 10 metres, 12 metres between the leading trio and the pack. And somebody needs to take the bull by the horns amongst that leading trio and try and up the tempo a bit to keep the pack at bay. Otherwise, we're going to have just one big pack, and it could be anybody's race. Borelli still doing all the work at the front. Mismas there driving along beside her. And Van Ez, who looks very relaxed, I have to say, Diane Van Ez of the Netherlands. Their champion a couple of weeks back. Went down the heats of the Olympic Games last year, but has plenty of experience. She's tall and good-looking athlete as Van Ez, the way she moves.
Wow, we don't want to miss any of this hammer throw. So our directors got us these live pictures from the women's hammer throw. And I think that was Katie Head. Still in the second round so far. And Katie Head went out to 62.16 in her first round. There she is, donning the England vest. I know she'll be hoping to get selected for the Commonwealth Games in Birmingham later this summer. So 65.02. She improves by quite a few metres there.
65.06 there, yes, for Katie Head. They're back in this 5,000 metres. They've gone through 3K in 9:18, so that's that third kilometre rather, 3:07, 9:18.25. So they've gone 3:02, 3:09, 3:07. So Borelli here is trying hard to keep it honest. I'd love to see Nesbitt or Mismas or Van Ez go past her and try and share this tempo through this last 5 laps. A 74-second lap there. And Mismas right on her shoulder, running the extra yards. I mean, it's not many, the extra meters for each lap, by being on the edge of lane 1, but you might as well get on the inside and be tucked in behind, or else get out in front. But I like seeing athletes push on from the front and make the rest of them work behind, and she's doing that here very well, actually, to be fair, is Borelli, because the gap is not closing from that pack. They're trying hard to come back to it, but they're simply not doing it. And it is Ruiz, who is Cristina Ruiz of Spain. She's a 15:34 performer, 6th in the European under-23s last year, who's leading the chasing pack. And actually the pace is taking its toll, Jenny, because there are gaps appearing.
There are, Tim, but it's just so interesting, isn't it, when there's 3 athletes locked together here. We've said how hard Borelli's working. Mismas is just on her shoulder. She's waiting to strike. She's very, very fluent when she runs, isn't she? But Vanez, she's the one with the time, 15:07, and she's really not had to exert herself so much. She's not moved from that curve the whole way round, and it'll be really interesting now with a couple of laps to go. Who's going to strike? Who's going to make a move? And can the chasing pack get back to them? Well, no change coming into their home straight once again, and they're going to be approaching 3 laps to go, 1,200 meters, and we'll get that reminder on the back straight in 200 meters. We'll get that 1 kilometer split once again. We're going to be reaching 4 kilometers. And there we go, 3 laps to go.
Well, Diane Vanez, good athlete. She's run 4:12 for 1,500 meters. Doesn't have supreme speed. Nearly broken 9 minutes for 3,000. She is very much a strength-based athlete as they head up the back straight. So the chase is on. 2 are broken away from the chasing pack and are beginning to close down on this leading trio. Maybe that leading trio beginning to watch each other, Jenny, in a sort of cat and mouse fashion. But there's definitely a chase on here from athletes behind, and in fact we're getting to the point where it's a group of 5. There it is, 4 kilometers, 12:25, that kilometer 3:06.
Well, 3:06, but they have got 2 other athletes there with them. I can see one of them is Trapp, and I'm just trying to locate who the other one is, but it's gone from 3 to 5 with just over 2 laps to go. I think actually it's the Hungarian Wagner Gikuris. She's attached herself there, and if the leaders went through in 3:06, I'd probably say the chasing pack were a little bit faster, especially those 2 athletes. Maybe a 3:4, a 3:5.
Well, it's Machado who has moved up alongside them with, I think, is it Trapp? Manon Trapp, who is up along with them. And they are moving well now, and these 5 are moving away. Certainly the pace will pick up. They've got a lap and a half to go, Jenny. And there's a big gap behind them now. Athlete isolated is Carmela Cardama of Spain, back in 6th place. But these 5, well, you could literally throw a blanket over them. They're so closely bunched. Still right on the shoulder of the leader is the athlete who will not take the lead, but will sit on the shoulder of the leader, ready to pounce, perhaps, the Slovenian Marusa Mismas.
Well, here we go. This is the move. This is Machado, one of the athletes who's just attached herself to this pack, and straight away we can see Vanessa. She won't let it go.
Well, Machado is the interloper. She wasn't involved for the vast majority of this race in the leading trio. And then Vanessa, now she kicks hard. That was a big acceleration from Vanessa just past the bell. Kicks in hard. Machado can't go with it, and the others having to go around Machado, and that is a help to Vanessa, who goes into the back straight. 300 meters to run, Jenny, and she's got a gap now very quickly, about 7 or 8 meters.
Well, she has never moved from the inside curve. She's not even run 1 meter further than she needed to. She's just ghosted the other athletes, and she struck, didn't she, with 300 meters to go. Looking really, really strong there. Machado it is in 2nd place, and I think it's Mismas still in 3rd. Well, she's certainly going to be on for a personal best.
Well, coming to the straight and looking very strong. They're trying to close on her. And Van Aers it is who leads by several meters. The rest trying to come back at her. Machado. In fact, Wagner, Gierka it is. Closing on her as the line approaches. She's going to run out of track now. Another 10 meters, 15 meters. And she might have taken that one. Boy, it was very close to come the line. Even though Van Aers, who's out flat on her back on the track, was leading by a comfortable margin halfway down the back straight. And I thought she had the race in the bag. Mismas out-kicks, just didn't have the legs to go with it. I thought she looked ready to pounce, but these races can be very deceptive.
Well, and we followed the kilometre splits all the way through that. The fifth one was the fastest one, 2:55. Well, a great win in the end. But I was really pleased with Borelli there of Argentina. She did a lot of the work, didn't she, Tim? She finished in third place and she'll be rewarded with a huge personal best.
Yes, the field coming through. And the opportunity of a really quick time today just wasn't taken. Maybe they just weren't up to it. And also it's difficult to tell sitting here by the finish line what the actual wind is doing out there. It does look like there's quite a breeze. I have a sneaking suspicion there's quite a wind up the back straight, maybe in the faces of these athletes. Look at some trees behind the stands on the back straight. It does look like there is a wind in their faces. But Diane Van Aers 15:20.79. That is her opening 5,000 of the season, and a really solid one. It's always good to win, Jen. It's a lovely habit to have.
It is a great habit, isn't it? And Van Aers does get the win, 15:20, 13 seconds short of her personal best time. And I think we're going to be able to get the thoughts of Diane Van Aers very soon. I can see Diane Modahl on the inside of the track there. She's our in-field interviewer. And I think it's hard enough doing a 5,000 metres, Tim, but having to talk straight after, but really looking forward to hearing what she has to say.
Well, it's time to go down the finish line, and for the first time today to introduce our in-field announcer, Diane Modahl.
Thank you, Jeff. What an absolute stonker of weather we got this afternoon. Thank you to everybody for joining us on such a beautiful day. I'm here on the track with the winner of the women's 5,000 metres, Diane Van Aers, and also John Beavermans, founder of BoXX United, who is going to present a cheque to Diane in a few minutes, your prize money. But before then, just give us a sense of that race, a beautifully timed finish, Diane.
Yeah, I actually wanted to go a little faster for the world standard, which is 15:10, but because it was so windy and the rest of the girls were also, you know, the pace was a little bit slowing down, so then I decided to just go for the win and have a kick at the end. So yeah.
And what a kick it was. Congratulations. Over to you, John, for the check presentation.
So Tim, I think we were wondering what the conditions were like, so therefore we heard from Diane Van Aers a little bit windy out on the track, so we've certainly got the warm temperature but a little bit of wind swirling around the stadium. We have seen in some early heats before we were on air, we've had some plus winds, we've had some minus winds, but nothing too extravagant. But it was the win for Diane Van Aers. So the women's hammer throw does continue, and we've got the men's 1,500 metres next. And again, a busy field. 20 athletes or so have entered this one. Some real standouts. We've got the Hungarian Segugi, Katrov from Uruguay, Adisu from Ethiopia. We've got Mangwoi of Kenya, Etiang of Kenya as well, and we've got Tyson of France. So plenty of talent, plenty of personal bests, and we've got a good pacemaker as well. We've got Henry Fisher of Great Britain, He's looking to take these men through 800 metres in 1 minute 53. And if they have the motivation and the desire to go with him, we're hoping for a sub 3:34 clocking. And just for context, that World Championship qualifying time is 3:35. So there is the lineup. Too many to introduce individually, but I'm sure we'll be able to chat about a lot of these men once the action goes underway. Expect lots of action at the front, and we've got quite a lot of youth talent in this one as well. So there is Raul, one of the athletes that I have just mentioned. Hansen there, Rivera, Ethan Hussey, Great Britain junior athlete. Had a good win recently in Belfast. And the fastest guy in the field is George Manguai, World Junior Champion in 2018. And on that occasion, he finished ahead of Jakob Ingebrigtsen. Not a bad win. Jakob Ingebrigtsen, of course, took that Olympic title over this distance last year. So we'll look out for Manguai. Personal best of 3:31.49. Opened up in just under 3:40 this year. So 3 3/4 laps of the track. We're looking for Henry Fisher 1:53 at 800 metres. So they're underway, and everyone scrapping to get to the front. Yes, he's got that bib on saying pace at the front, and we can see he's certainly started off with real intent there. In fact, only one athlete has followed him, and I think maybe that's quite sensible. A lot of these men are trying to get qualification standards for various championships. I know a lot of the juniors are trying to break that barrier at 3:40, but it is at the moment pacemaker really gone for it.
And the athlete who's gone with him is Kamar Etiang of Kenya. He's a 3:33 performer. He was second in the Kenyan trials, Olympic trials last year, but was disqualified in the World Under-20 Championships on home soil. 54.41 the first lap, Jenny. That's why the pack haven't gone with this pair. They're probably 3 seconds back. 54.4, it's quick.
Well, it's very quick, isn't it? That would get them through 800 metres if they stayed at that pace around about 1:49. Now remember, they've only asked for 1:53. And Itang, who has gone with him, he's only young, he's 20 years of age. He came second in that Kenyan Olympic trials last year, but didn't have the qualification standard. Instead, he was selected for the World Junior Championships, and he's just followed, hasn't he, Tim? And maybe it's a little bit of ambition, maybe a little bit of naivety, but he's coming through now with 2 laps to go, and let's see what that's done for him. I think that might catch up to him in the latter stages of this race.
Well, Adisu is in second place. Vegan Adisu of Ethiopia. He's a 3:34 performer at his best. He actually was the silver medalist in the World Under-20 last year. And they go through 800. 1:54.8. Look at that. 59.6 the second lap. That is not good pacemaking. I'm sorry. It really isn't. 54.4 and then 59.6. A huge differential between the first 400 and the second 400. Now, you always want the first lap to be quick to clear out, but 59 is too much of a slowing.
Yeah, really difficult, isn't it? But the only thing that I can say is maybe Itiang had a little bit of a rest. He ran that very fast first lap. Maybe he saved a little bit because of that 59-second lap. I mean, he certainly isn't getting caught at the moment.
He's not, but he's looking quite tired as he comes towards the bell. He hears it this time. He's got about 20 metres on the pack. He goes through in 2:40.5. Adisu in second place. And in third, they're going through is Nada. But they're still struggling to get back on terms with the leader.
Well, Etiang really went for it, didn't he? And I hope that he's rewarded for that real raw ambition. Now that lap, only 61. It's so bizarre that he hasn't been caught. Nobody's really put the foot down yet. The lead is still there, but if we watch that chasing pack now, they're really putting their foot down. They're really working together. 150 meters to go now. Can Et Yang hang on, or is he going to get caught? This is going to be really, really tough, and they're all queuing up now behind him. 100 meters to go. Well, Et Yang, it is. He's still working hard. His knees are pumping, his arms are pumping. Can he hang on? Oh, it looks like he might just get overhauled at the end, and oh, I think he just hung on to him.
Well, as it Katrov, which was who came through to try and take him at the end there, it was incredibly tight. The winning time 3:40.58 by international standards on the slow side. It was all set up so ambitiously with that opening of 400 of 54 and then 59 for the second lap, so 154 at just inside 155 at 800 meters, but it never really picked up. Certainly they didn't maintain anything like that tempo, but it ended up being a great race, didn't it?
It was, and that's the word, wasn't it? It was a race. Et Yang maybe out in front. He ran it.
The Hammer Road, we are partway through round 4 out of 6. It's still Jacobsen of Denmark leading 67.95.
Hang on a minute, let them go. They're going to come back to us at some point, and it did become a race. And if you look down that field at personal best, you would never have said that the winning time was going to be outside of 3:40. Well, here we go. These are the results of the women's 5,000 metres. Diane Modahl, 15:20.79. Wagner Garusas, 15:45.47. And Beth Kidger it was, who got up into third place, 15:49.67.
Well, Emily Thompson, of course, was the pacemaker in that one. Several athletes failing to start. Certainly the meeting organisers have had their challenges in recent days with an awful lot of no-shows, athletes pulling out, athletes wanting to get into the meeting. And it is an incredibly busy weekend this weekend, by the way. There's 5 or 6 meetings around Europe. There's a couple of big meetings in North America as well. Et Yang there, though, winning time doesn't really matter. He took the race 3:40.58, chatting to meeting director there, Diane Modahl, husband of Diane Modahl. There she is in the dark glasses, former champion of the Commonwealth Games. Was it 1994 she won, I think, in Victoria? Commonwealth Games 800 metres. The next event on the track is the final of the women's 100-metre hurdles. That's not due off actually for a few minutes yet. I'm just looking, the barriers are only just coming out onto the home straight. They've taken a little while, but the official is doing a fabulous job. And that hammer competition, of course, still well underway. And we are in the round 4 of the hammer, and we're going to the high jump now. Well, here is the high jump field. It's only a small one. Carmen Bruce of Estonia. She's a 191 jumper. That was indoors this year. Estonian indoor champion. There is Laura Zialo. She too, a 191 jumper indoors this winter. The UK indoor champion actually this year. Beautiful conditions for jumping. As long as they're not jumping into a strong headwind, these are glorious conditions. And this really is a lovely facility, this Manchester Regional Arena. There it is, just 5 athletes: Ferguson, Fernandez, Bruce, Williamson and Zialo. That's the jumping order. And the opening height will be 171, so good modest warm-up for them. Well, Halla Ferguson, English junior champion indoors, is a 175 jumper, so this in itself will be a challenge for her. You can see the high jump bed just to the centre right of picture. The athletes on this first D of the track here in Manchester, close in front of us. We've got a wonderful view of it, in fact.
And a lot going on in the arena as well at the moment. Great for fans. We've still got that women's hammer throw going on. We've got the women's high jump about to start. You've just seen the men's sprint hurdlers walk up to the top. And of course, we've got the women's final coming up as well. And here we go. This is the women's high jump.
Got to go by what we can. Oh, 171. Okay for Fernandez there. She is a 190 jumper. That was a couple of years ago. 3 Spanish titles, indoors and out. So waiting for the next jumper.
And it's a small field, Tim, isn't it? And I can't decide whether that's a good thing or bad thing for the jumpers. So of course, they won't have as long between the jumps because there's only 5 of them. It's not a cold day, so maybe they'd appreciate a little bit longer. But maybe it's just a really compact competition. A little bit relaxed, a little bit more like a training competition. It's really bright in the arena. Just trying to work out where the sun is.
Well, Fernandez is going again. She's already cleared 171, her opening height. Everybody else, in fact, just checking. 2 athletes are non-starters. There's only 3 athletes in this. Halla Ferguson and Kimberly Williamson, the Jamaican, are non-starters.
Well, that gives them even less recovery, Tim.
It does, I know.
20 minutes, all done.
The next event on the track, the 100-meter hurdles final for women, and we are hearing that there's been a problem with one of the hurdles, so there's going to be a slight delay. The replacement hurdle is whisking its way out down the track to be put in position, but that will cause a delay of just a couple of minutes. Well, 2 jumps, 171 and 175 for Fernandez. And the bar just popping over at 175. Another athlete. And this is making it look relatively easy. I have to say that's Carmen Bruz of Estonia who pops over that. And Bruz, well, she's a 180 jumper at her best. In fact, according to our statistics, this is her first competition this year, but she made that look very straightforward.
She did. 175, good opener. And the personal best is 180.
Well, we can go over to the start line now at the far end of the home straight. It's the 8 athletes ready for this women's 100-meter hurdles final. They negotiated their heat about an hour and 20 minutes ago. Batista of Brazil goes in lane 1. That's Ketli Batista, the 22-year-old. Best of 13:33 this year. She was 4th in a heat in 13:61. Jenna Blundell was 5th in the first heat, 13:63. The Briton. She's a 13:20 athlete at her best. English under-23 champion. Jess Hunter goes in lane 3. The Briton was 3rd in her heat in 13:37. A lifetime best 13:26 from earlier on this year. So about a metre slower than that. Gravesgaard, well, she's in really good form. Gravesgaard, who is in lane 3 there. According to my start list, she should have been in lane 5. So there has been an adjustment, which is a little bit frustrating, but we can cope with that, I'm sure, as we see Quiros, who goes in lane 6. In 5, in fact, is Quiros. So there has been a complete swap around of these lanes. And Emma Nwofo goes in lane 7. Third in her heat in 13.59. Nwofo. So 60 hurdles in the European Indoors last year. And then in lane 8 is Barrett. 13.65 for third in heat 2. Alicia Barrett runs for the local Trafford club, the 24-year-old. UK champion in 2017-2018. Set a personal best at Urdegem on the just a few days ago, and actually finished 8th in the Commonwealth Games back in 2018. She's got plenty of experience as Alicia Barrett. She won't be delighted with that lane 8 draw. Well, these ladies will have to learn this patience, because that is what so often is the case in major championships. This is all good experience as this summer rumbles up to full speed, and it's a pretty quick acceleration, frankly, with the UK championships for the local athletes in 3 weeks' time here in this arena. So Batista in 1, Blundell in 2, Jess Hunter in 3. Then Jenna Lim in 4, Gravesgaard goes in 5, Kiros in 6, Nwofo 7, and Alicia Barrett in lane 8. And it was Maaike Jenna-Lin of the Netherlands who won her heat in 13.13, excuse me. And that makes her perhaps the favourite here. It was a meeting record, and again a little technical issue, so a reset for these athletes. Nice conditions. We had slight headwind in some of the sprint races earlier on before we came on air, so let's hope things have settled down now. In fact, let's hope they've reversed a little bit. The Staden record 12.96, the facility record. Fastest time in the world this year was by Jasmine Camacho Quinn, the Olympic champion from Puerto Rico, won the Olympics last year. Did Camacho Quinn. We're in Gainesville back in the middle of April. They start their season so early in North America. In the middle of April, she ran 12.39. But anything close to 13 seconds here would be very strong sprint hurdling indeed. And once you get into sub 13 seconds territory, then you're into world class, frankly. 1280s, 1270s, very crisp sprint hurdling. So for the second time we're asking then, Batista of Brazil in 1, Blundell of Great Britain in 2, Hunter of Great Britain in 3, then Jenna Lin, the quickest in the qualifying for the Netherlands in 4, Gravesgaard of Denmark, she won her heat in 13.18 in 5, so watch 4 and 5, Keros in 6, Nwofo 7, Barrett in lane 8. Well, away they go, and looking very strong at the moment is Gravesgaard. Gravesgaard may be leading at the moment, although Keros of Portugal also looking very strong. But looking best of all, perhaps, is Jenna Lin. Jenna Lin, and a real battle there between those three. Hunter of Great Britain and Jenna Lin. And the winning time, 12.98, and I think Hunter might have taken it. It was very tight indeed at the line. Well, who did get it? We're waiting to see. It was so tight. Oh, gets it on the tip, I think. Does Hunter, Jess Hunter of Great Britain. And if that time is confirmed, well, that will be a lifetime best for Jess Hunter. Her lifetime best at the moment, 13.26. She was second in the UK Indoor Championship. She had a great winter. But who did get it? And Gravesgaard being given it. And I could have sworn that was lane 3, which should have been Jess Hunter. Took that.
Well, I think we better look at the official results of that one. I'm just wondering whether all the lanes were right, but if it is under 13 seconds, it was minus. Well,
Gravesgaard did get it
per second.
And do you know what? That lane draw has really confused things. Certainly confused me, because Gravesgaard was in lane 3. She got it. I thought it was Hunter. Apologies for that. all the paperwork I've been given, some of it handwritten after the heats, is that Hunter was in lane 3, but it was Gravesgaard of Denmark, 12.99, in fact adjusted from 12.98, and that for Gravesgaard, well, it's a huge new personal best. She'd never broken 13 seconds. In fact, her best prior to that was 13.11.
Wow, what a breakthrough. And Tim, you can be forgiven, because look at my paper. I had Gravesgaard in lane 3, I crossed it out, put Hunter. Anyway, what a great win. And to get a women's hurdles, and you talked about it, you know, you set it up, Tim. You said if you can start approaching sub 13 seconds, you really break into world class, and we had that here today. What a breakthrough for Gravesgaard. 13.18 in a heat. She looked great, didn't she, in qualifying? She won the B race, but all the way down to just under 13 seconds. She'll be coming back next year, I assure you.
I should think so, yes. In fact, it was the 2 heat winners who took first and second. The Dane Gravesgaard winning 12.99, and Maaike Jenna Lim of the Netherlands second, 13.02. They were well ahead of the rest. That battle between them was what drew them about 1.5 meters clear. Well, Mette Gravesgaard is semi-finalist in the World Indoor Championships in Belgrade a few weeks back, 26 years old. She set a national record on a heat of their national championships in Odense in June last year. This is only her second 100 hurdles of the year here today. Well, her second and third races, of course. 13.22 she ran in Huelva on the 25th of May, 10 days ago. Well, from 13.22, scratch that out and put down 12.99 as her season's best, and now her new lifetime best. Quite fabulous, and we can have a chat with her.
Mette, huge congratulations to you. A fantastic time, officially 12.99. Tell us, what does that mean to you?
It really means a lot. I have never been under 13 before, and it has been a dream for me to run under 13 for a long time now. So it's really, yeah, it's really, I can't explain it, but I have no words for it, but it means a lot.
What do you think has made the difference to such a fast run? You've been trying to go sub 13 for so long now. What's been the difference today?
I had a quite good indoor seasons. We got some things we were working on, and it went good. And then we have worked further with that for the outdoor season, and now it's coming together, I think. So yeah.
Fantastic, congratulations. We're really proud that your 12.99 came here right in Manchester. Well done. Please receive your well-deserved check from John.
So that's time of 12.99, a meeting record. Maaike Jenna Lim of Netherlands with 13.02.
Well, one of the owners of BoXX United, the meeting sponsors, presenting the winner's check to Mette Gravesgaard, 12.99 into a 2 meter per second headwind, can you believe? Great win for Gravesgaard and a big personal best. Jenna Lim of the Netherlands second, 13.02 to Portugal's Catarina Queiroz, a good third with 13.18. Well, that shows what a fast track this is, Jenny. I mean, that was a massive personal best for Queiroz in third place. In fact, the top 3 all getting personal bests.
Yeah, it's great, isn't it? When you get that opportunity, when you're in shape, you've got others that are in shape as well, and you get good weather conditions. It all just comes together, and really emotional interview, wasn't it? And such a great breakthrough. So we can see that the hurdles remain there, but their height is getting increased. So that can only mean one thing. We're setting up for the men's 110 meter hurdles. Here is the start list. We've got Pereira of Great Britain in lane 1, Armstrong of Ireland in 2, Smet of the Netherlands in 3, Zaza of Liberia in 4, Van der Schaaf from the Netherlands in 5, De Oliveira from Portugal in 6, Porter from Great Britain in 7, and Holder from Great Britain in lane 8.
lane 1, the Liberian record holder, 4th in the African Games.
So we meet all the athletes. This is Pereira of Great Britain. He was 3rd in the British Indoor Championships this year. He's got their inside lane. Armstrong from Ireland, the winner of the British University 60-metre indoor title this year. He takes lane 2. Cohen Smed of the Netherlands, 13 Dutch titles during his career. And he's made a European indoor final last year in 2021. Zaza from Liberia, the Liberian national record holder. He was 4th in the African Games in 2019. Van der Schaaf from the Netherlands. He's a semi-finalist in the World Indoor Championships this year. Next, we meet the athlete from Portugal, De Oliveira. He was a semi-finalist in the Rio Olympic Games. And Jake Porter from Great Britain. He goes in lane 7. He was a finalist at the British Champs last year and 3rd in the England Championships. And finally, Callum Holder of Great Britain. He's an under-23 athlete. He studies at Cardiff Met University, and he was 2nd in the recent British University Championships this year. So the full lineup: Pereira, Armstrong, Smet, Zaza, Van der Schaaf, De Oliveira, Porter and Holder. Well, the starter not happy with something. They were told to go to the marks, and before they even had the opportunity, they were told to reverse. And it's a green card, just means a faulty start. No one to blame. So no heats of this one like there was with the women's equivalent. Just one race, 8 competitors. The World Championship qualification standard is 13.32 seconds. And a couple of these guys have got pretty close to that in the past. Nobody surpassed that so far this year. So the Zaza in lane 1 is the fastest in the field this year, but going really, really well in the centre lane is Zaza, and he's coming all the way up to the line, and he does. He takes the win in 13.64. So let's see if that time is amended. 13.64 seconds. And it showed up with a wind reading of minus 0.9. So that suggests the wind has dropped slightly from when the women ran 10 minutes or so ago. And what did you think about that, Tim? So Zaza it was. He's run the fastest time so far this year. The Liberian national record holder. He was in the centre lane.
Well, I think he'll be disappointed with that time. I think the wind in their faces is a factor. It was -2 for the ladies. It was just under 1 metre per second apparently in the faces of those athletes. It was a good win for the Liberian, and he's a good, quick lad. 13.36 is best this year. He's certainly a growing force. It's always good to notch up a win, but he will have ambitions greater than that, who will want to be running quicker. He needs to penetrate the top athletes in the world. Now, the 10th fastest in the world this year is 13.28. He's run 13.36, so he's within half a metre or so of being in the world top 10. He needs races. He needs more races. These fellas in this very technically demanding event need races one after another in quick succession to polish the technique, get it right. Tiny tweaks are what's necessary. And a win is a win, but I think he'll be disappointed with that time. Well, we can go to an interview now with Wellington Zaza now of Liberia, the winner.
Where did you travel from? Miami. Yeah. Zaza, huge congratulations on that win. You've come all the way from Miami for this competition. Second time you've won in Manchester. What is it about Manchester that you like so much and you keep coming back?
Well, first of all, good afternoon, everybody. Come on, give it some, boys. Come on, get out. Let's go. But anyway, yeah, thank you guys for having me. But it's the atmosphere in Manchester. It's always a wonderful time being here. I love the weather, even though it's a little cold, but yeah, I love it.
It's great that you say you love the weather because you are in Manchester and not Miami. You know that, don't you? You haven't taken a wrong turn. You've still got more competitions coming up throughout the year. What's your target this year? What are you going for?
Well, most importantly, my biggest target is just to have fun and just continue to show up and enjoy every competition and every opportunity I'm given.
Thank you. We look forward to seeing you in Manchester again. Please accept your winner's check. Congratulations.
Salita Fernandez has been eliminated at the previous height impact at 178. So the two athletes jumping will be Laura Zyler of Great Britain and Connor Bruce of
13.79, Cohen Smet 13.82 in third place.
Well, he's certainly enjoying himself, and I think that was a good point from Diane Modahl. You haven't made a mistake. You're not in Florida. You didn't take a wrong turn off the plane. You're not in Florida. You are in Manchester, in the northwest of England, where it's a truly glorious afternoon. The next event on the track is the men's 400 metres. That's due off in just a couple of minutes' time. And there is the lineup. Pereira goes in 1, Devante of Switzerland in 2, then Chris O'Donnell of Ireland in 3, Al Yassin of Saudi Arabia goes in 4, Isaiah Boas of the Netherlands in 5, Samuel Garcia goes in 6 for Spain, and Belgium's Alexander Doom goes in lane 7. What a great name, Alexander Doom. 45-34 man at his best indeed. This field is very, very closely matched. They've all run within a second of each other, most of them in the 45.5 second range, so this should be a really tight race.
Just picking up images there of the men's pole vault. We've had a late entrance, Harry Coppell, the British national record holder. Doesn't live far away from here, Tim. Lives about half an hour away. Said, you know what, the weather's quite good. Put his poles on his car and arrived.
Well, no, do you know what? I had a chat with Harry earlier, and he did tell the meeting organisers he wanted to be in on Tuesday. It's just that we only heard that he was in an hour or two ago. As we see Owen Hurd there of Great Britain.
Yeah, Owen Hurd there, 5:36 personal best this year. For the youngster, he's converted from the multi-events and he's now focusing on the pole vault. Great to see, as we're going to pick up images of this men's 400 metres.
Yes, one unforgiving lap of the track. There is Alexander Doom of the Netherlands. Doom, well, fourth in the Olympic Games long relay for Belgium last year in Tokyo. In lane 6 is Samuel Garcia of Spain. Garcia, an Olympian last year, 7th in the European Championships 400 metres back in 2014 in Zurich, Switzerland. In lane 5 is Isaiah Boas of the Netherlands, 45.92 his personal best. Boas went out in his heat of the World Indoors in Belgrade back in late March. In lane 4 is Mazen Al Yassin of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. It's a 45.1 performer at his best, and not far off that this year. He's in good form, and that's a nice lane draw, lane 4. Semi-finalist in the Olympic Games last year, in fact. Chris O'Donnell goes in 3 for Ireland. He's a 45.5 performer. Is O'Donnell 3rd in the Irish Championships. Well, in lane 2 is the Switzerland Charles Devantry. 46.9 this year, that's all, but he has run 45.8. He's run a lot quicker than that. He's in 2, and Mauro Pereira of Portugal goes in lane 1. Hasn't broken 47 seconds this year. He is a 46 performer at his best. 46.4 is Pereira. He was a fairly late addition to the field. The meeting record, by the way, is very accessible to athletes of this caliber. It's 46.45. Fastest time in the world this year by Mike Norman. Just last Saturday in Eugene, Oregon at the Prefontaine Classic, Norman ran 43.60. Very, very quick indeed. So into the blocks they go then. That lineup from the inside once again. Mauro Pereira of Portugal in 1, Charles de Ventry of Switzerland in 2, Christopher O'Donnell of Ireland in 3, then Mazen Al Yassin of Saudi Arabia in 4, Isaiah Boers of the Netherlands in 5, Samuel Garcia of Spain in 6, Alexander Doom of Belgium on the outside in lane 7. But away they go. Now we know there's a headwind in the home straight. That means they should have it on their backs down the back straight. It might mean very quick times through 200 metres. And they are flying at the moment. It's looking very strong indeed. Certainly it looks to have gone off quickly as Boers of the Netherlands. Third from left in the yellow vest. Boers flying down the back straight. I think he's leading at the moment. Good running 2 in lane 3 by Chris O'Donnell of Ireland. Boers certainly is up on Garcia at the moment as they come round the top bend, and it's Chris O'Donnell who's going really strong in lane 3. How can he figure as they come into the straight with 100 metres to run? O'Donnell looking strong, looking superb, and the longest late charge from Doom on the outside left of picture. Doom for Belgium pushing up, but O'Donnell, I don't think he's going to be caught, or is he? What's the clock? It's really tight. Doom might have just got there. Doom might have stolen it from O'Donnell. 46.04 unofficially the winning time. Well, Doom, that would be a huge new seasonal best, not a personal best, and it is a season's best for Chris O'Donnell, because according to my stats, whether he won or came a close second, it's his first race of the season. He has run 45.55, Chris O'Donnell, so not a personal best for him, but a really great competitive home stretch run from those two. A real battle over the last 50. They were
I think looking at that image, Doom did just get it. A big season's best, as you said, for him. But O'Donnell was real impressive. And believe you me, your first 400 metres of the season, I mean, they all hurt him. But your first one is very, very tough. So a very, very good start there for Chris O'Donnell from Ireland.
Well, the winning time is confirmed at 46.03 for Alexander Doom to Chris O'Donnell's 46.05, 2/100ths of a second. And yes, that is, to use a cliche, almost the thickness of a vest. He'll be frustrated with that, O'Donnell. I think he was in the lead with about 50 to go. Coming into the straight, I think he was in the lead. The camera following him. He's given 100%, but the official result gives Doom as the winner, 46.03 to O'Donnell 46.05. And I think that is right. From what we saw on the replay, you could see Doom just outdipped the Irishman with Al Yassin of Saudi Arabia, third, 46.61. There it is, confirmation of the win for Belgium's Alexander Doom. Really close. Behind was Chris O'Donnell of Ireland, with the Saudi athlete Al Yassin in third. Everybody else outside 47 seconds.
Well, these 400 metres, they hurt. Look at Doom. I was actually impressed with Chris O'Donnell just using the steeplechase barrier as a little bit of a prompt, propping him up at the end of that one. But yeah, what a great race.
Well, and a win is important. It's not a bad time. It might not be a personal best for Doom, but it's a win and a very competitive race, and that will bring him on. These races, you have to race yourself into shape. You hear the phrase race fit as opposed to just being very fit from training, and there's a distinct difference, isn't there, Jenny? No matter what you do in training, you cannot replicate the emotions, the pressures, the blend of what you get in competition.
Yeah, racing really brings you on, really important. So we move on now to the Diane Modahl women's 800 metres. We've already seen Diane on duty on the middle of the arena. Her husband Vincenti Modahl, he's the meet director here, and he's honoured Diane from all their achievements with the race title of this one. And this one looks like it's going to be a really good one. We've got the pacemaker going through in 58 seconds, which I think is really realistic. If you want to hit those world standards, you've got to be going through in 58, 59 seconds these days. Anything outside a minute, it just doesn't cut it. And the person in this race with the fastest time will be Izzy Boffey. Expect Izzy Boffey to go in lane 4. Izzy Boffey, she's done the hat trick. She's won the European under 18s, under 20s and under 23 age group championships. Also the winner of the British Universities this year.
Jenny, I always feel as though Izzy Boffey, with those gold medals in all those age groups, should be, she's like a force waiting to happen against the clock. She hasn't broken 2 minutes yet.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people feel that, Tim. You know, I don't think she'll just break 2 minutes. I think when she does, she'll do it by an absolute country margin. She just needs the opposition, the day, the right pace. And this is our pacemaker, Amy Hilliard. Hopefully she can do a good job. She's a 52-second 400-metre athlete, so 58 should feel really comfortable for her. So we're meeting the athletes from the outside. Claudia Bopachea comes off a 4:01.1 1500-metre personal best on Tuesday. Jenna Bromwell from Ireland, part of the Irish contingency of 800-metre women who are really pushing each other and the event on. The Hungarian athlete there, Bianca Barta-Kerry, personal best of 2:01, 2:02 this year. And here is Izzy Boffey. We've been watching her for a number of years, well known in Great Britain and all around Europe from all those age group championship titles. Can she go sub 2 minutes the first time today? Spanish indoor champion, Lorraine Isabelzal. She's got a personal best of 2:04. So lane 3, we're not going to see Claire Mooney. In lane 2 is Viola Resling of Finland. And on the inside, the national champion of Portugal, indoors and outdoors, 20 years of age, Patricia Silva. So Mooney in 3 does not go. But we have got 6 women plus a pacemaker. So we're underway in this women's 800 metres. We're going to keep an eye on the race, but obviously on the clock as well. They've asked for 58 seconds, and I can see Isabel Boffey going after this pace. I saw a race early in the season, and she actually went through in 57.5. Maybe that was a little bit too ambitious so early in the season for her, but she's certainly got lots of speed in her legs. She's around 53 seconds over the 400 metres, so she's definitely capable of doing that. And just watching the early pace, I can see Bopachea, she's there. Izzy Boffey is slotted in there in about 3rd position. And I think it's Barta-Kerry of Hungary who's the one following the pacemaker at this moment.
Yeah, nice steady pace, nothing silly here. I'm not sure it's going to be as quick as 58 seconds. Barta-Kerry in 2nd place. Boffey boxed on the inside, Jenny, 59.61. No, it's quite a lot slower than was requested. That's a shame.
It is a shame, but I think Izzy Boffey is really strong these days, and I'm not giving her this race. She's got to win it first and foremost, of course. But she showed some real strength when she won the 1,000 metres at the British Indoor Grand Prix. But it is Barta-Kerry at the moment from Bopachea. Don't forget that 4:01.1 over 1,500 metres just on Tuesday evening in Ostrava. So she's going to have a lot of strength. And Izzy Boffey at the moment in 3rd position at 600 metres. So Barta-Kerry it is from Bopachea. Izzy Boffey just dropping back at the moment. Can she respond? She has a characteristic, really good sprint finish. But Bopachea it is who's coming, kicking off the home straight. And she's going to pass Barta-Kerry, who's been leading the whole way so far. That strength that she has from the 1,500 metres. And what time is it going to be? I think it's just going to be outside 2 minutes. 2:01.72. Well, a great win there for Bopachea. a little bit frustrating from a British perspective, and we were really rooting for Isabelle Boffey. We thought this might have been the day where she had that big breakthrough, but really, really good win there from BoXX and a very good run there from Barter Kerry, who really followed the pacemaker and was rewarded with a good time in second place.
Yeah, I'm a little disappointed for Izzy Boffey there. I think she will be disappointed with that. You know, she's the specialist of winning races that are well outside 2 minutes. She's got a wonderful kick, but she just didn't have it over that last 200 metres. They got away from her between about 250 to go and 150 to go, and she never got back on terms and was able to be competitive down the home straight. So that was frustrating. Bobicea of Romania there, 2:01.72, a fairly rudimentary run for an athlete like her. She has run quicker. It's her opening 800 of the season, and again, I keep saying it, but in these early races of the summer, just recording the wins is so important. You can then polish up your form, get quicker, you race yourself into racing shape, so to speak, so you reach your peak at your national championships. Most of these nations got their national championships on the same weekend, haven't they? That's in 3 weeks' time, and that's a tidying up of the process of the season that World Athletics have sort of enforced in the last couple of years, is to try to make some regimental normality or some sense to the season. Instead of different nations having their championships all over the place, have them on the same weekend. Well, as you can see, Diane Modahl ready with the race winner.
Well done, Claudia. A great win for you there. And it's not even your specialist event. You're a 1500 metre specialist. How do you feel about winning the 800 today?
I'm really happy that I win. Today is my second time here in Manchester. First time was in World Indoor Tour, and I'm really happy that I come back here and I win again.
Twice in Manchester, 2 wins. Keep going. Congratulations. Please accept your winner's check. Well done.
Wow, we're just picking up the results of the women's hammer throw. We saw a lot of early action, and the winner was just under 70 metres, which was great. Jacobinson there, and I think we just saw quickly Jess Mayo for Great Britain. She was in second place, 66 metres. And the result came on and went off before I even had a chance to look at it.
Yeah, that was quick, but Jacobsen taking it, yes, very impressive. Jacobsen with in round 4, 69.95, and in second place was Jess Mayer with around 3, 66.28, and in third place around 4, 65.97 for Mariana Marcelino of Brazil. That was just a couple of metres down on her lifetime best, but a good season's opener for the Brazilian Marcelino. Well, the next event on the track is the men's 800 metres, and it's one of the highlights of the day. Kyle Langford against Charlie Grice is a massive domestic clash here. Henry Fisher will be pacemaking for the second time today. Martin Plaum will be a pacemaker as well, we understand this one, the 2 times Dutch champion. But it is quite a big field, some 13 men, that's huge for an 800. There is Plaum, he will be the pacemaker along with Fisher, Henry Fisher. There is Tobias Gronstad of Norway. He's the Norwegian champion from last year, 146.02. Lane 6 shared there by Alberto Guerrero and Pablo Sanes Valadares, both of them Spanish, both 146 performers. Langford and Patterson share, Langford and Van der Putte share 5. Patterson is in 4. In 3, that is Eric Martinsson of Sweden. He's a 147.5 performer indoors this year. It's his first outdoor race of the season. Lane 2 shared by Charlie Grice, who's a 145 performer, and Alexander Lundskog of Sweden, twice the Swedish champion. And lane 1 will Finlay McClare. In fact, Charlie Grice sharing lane 1. Lane 2 is Lundskog and Jose Carlos Pinto of Portugal. It is a big field. I think a lot of people would say 13 is a couple of names too many for an 800 metres, but we shall see. The stadium record, 145 dead. Jen, conditions still pretty good. I'm looking at the trees over on the back straight. I think the wind's abated a bit. I think the wind has softened.
Yeah, and we do like these endurance events, these middle distance events in the evening. There's a great series in Britain called the British Milers Club, and that's always an evening meeting for that very reason. And I'm really looking forward to seeing how Ben Patterson goes here in lane 4.
Well, most of these men have only had 1 or 2 races. The stadium record, the meeting record, I should say, is by Alex Botterill. It's 1:46.57. That's perfectly within the compass of several of these fellas. Guerrero, Spain, in lane 6. Shares that lane with his compatriot, Sanes Valadares. He's a 1:46.01 performer this year. Ben Patterson of Great Britain has won 1:45 this season. So away they go. Now the pacemakers are charged here with going out in 50.5. That should be Fisher, and then Plough will take over and try and take them through to about 5:50. And it does look quick to me. It looks like most of this field have taken the opportunity through the opening 150 metres. And it is Fisher who hits the front. Plough slotting in beside him, behind him, but that is a big field. Looks like a 1500 field, doesn't it? For an 800 metres, it's probably just a couple of bodies too many. There's if you go towards the back of the field, even at a good tempo, you're still going to be 10 or 12 metres behind the leaders of the pack, Jenny.
Well, it shows real intention that the meet director has put 2 pacemakers in this one. I did say Ben Patterson. He did tell me he intends to go out at a decent pace. And I've got to say the first pacemaker's done a good job there. He was tasked with doing 50.5, so it's 50.7 seconds. And the second pacemaker is doing a really good job there. Ben Patterson right behind him, followed by Langford.
Sanes Valadares leading at the moment. Langford in second place, trying to chase him down. Kyle Langford, remember, whose claim to fame was 4th in the World Championships in London 2017, and then he took a silver medal on the Gold Coast in March, early 2018. These two beginning to get away now. There are gaps behind them, and they're chasing hard. The rest of them, the gaps are there, and 1:18 at 600 metres. Langford, renowned for his quick finish, has had it very varying form the last couple of years. Chasing hard Sanes Valadares, who's a 1:45 performer. Langford now kicks past him, and Langford may give us a home win here in Manchester as he drives on towards the line in that Shaftesbury Barnet Harriers vest, a big North London club. 1:46.48, 55.78 the second lap. The time doesn't matter. It's a win for Kyle Langford there. He is back to his winning ways. His best time this season, 1:46.11, so he's run slightly quicker than that. But that will be a very, very satisfying win indeed for Kyle Langford. He's a superbly, highly talented runner. Won the UK Championships back in 2015, but has had his real ups and downs over these last 2 or 3 years. And that will be a huge boost to the Londoner.
Yeah, I totally agree. That's a big win for Kyle and very much a return to form. He had got well beaten by Ben Patterson earlier in the season, so reversed it there. And we're just going to see the discus lineup here. These events come in thick and fast now. We're expecting 7 competitors on my list, but it looks like there's been a couple who's not there, so maybe we're down to 5. So we're about to be introduced to the field.
Next in the field is the men's discus throw.
Men's discus throw, 66 metres is the World Championship qualification. So first in the throwing order will be Greg Thompson. Throwing next for the Czech Republic, it is Marek Barta. Third in the throw-in order, 4th in the World Championships in Doha 2019 is Alin Ferica of Romania. Well, we talk about aligning a great lineup here. This is the World Championship silver medalist from several years ago now, Philip Milanov of Belgium. And 5th in the throw-in order will be Nick Percy. Great form, already broke the Scottish record this year, 64.35.
Kyle, should we be calling you Comeback Kyle? What an amazing run that was.
Yeah, I just stayed within myself. I felt pretty good the whole way around. Maybe I could have gone a bit earlier, but my main focus was to win, and I raced how I thought I should win, so yeah, felt good.
Silver medalist at the Commonwealth Games last time around. Are you hoping to make the team this time around?
Yeah, I mean, hopefully I can get a fast enough time that they select me. I'm in really good nick at the moment, so hopefully I do get selected. I can run quicker and make it so it's not a stress, because I'd like to go out. I only missed the gold by 0.1 last time, and I'd like to make sure I definitely win it a lot. Be like closer to winning it this time, so yeah.
Commonwealth Games are in Birmingham this year. We're wishing you all the best. Good luck with that. Please accept your winner's check. Well done, Kyle Langford.
Well, Kyle Langford there, a very pleased winner. He said, I thought I should beat that field, and he did. So a man whose confidence is growing all the time. Critical for him will be those UK Championships in 3 weeks' time. The UK, a bit of resurgence over this last 2 or 3 years in the middle distances for both men and women, and the squad of 800-metre runners from the United Kingdom really strong these days, as it is in the 1500 metres. Good runners are going to miss those World Championships.
So the women's 3,000 metre steeplechase, and again another quality lineup. That World Championship qualification standard is 9 minutes 30, and we've got Kate Seary here from Great Britain, and she's going to take these women for 3 laps in around about 75 seconds. So if my maths is correct, that's going to take them well inside that World Championship qualifying. It's around about 9 minutes 20. Now, I don't know whether Amy Pratt from Great Britain will have one eye on that British record, which is just inside that, 9:19. That is the full lineup. You can see Amy Pratt there drawn in, well, it's not lane, but number 12, right next to the pacemaker on the outside, so she can keep a real eye on Kate Seary. Got some real quality in this, talking about Amy Pratt, but the fastest is Louisa Geiger of Albania. She's ran 9:19.93 some 3 years ago. And what I really like is about Geiger, really similar to Amy Pratt, she's not afraid to take the race out. So great to see a pacemaker and 2 women who should be really ambitious with their timings here. They've not just come to win, I don't think. They'll be chasing the time. So it'll be fascinating to see both of these women go head to head. Other athletes to look at is Georgia Wincup from Australia. I'm also expecting Claudia Preisguru from Romania to go pretty well here, and probably De Silva from Brazil.
I must say, Jenny, I think the wind is probably stronger on that back straight than we realised, because none of the times the middle distances have been coming out that quick, have they? You know, that time for Kyle there, 1:46.5 in that 800 metres, and 1-2 other races we've seen the times. The men's 1500, 3:40 from a very good field. I mean, it had men in it who have run 3:31, 3:33. I think the wind we will probably hear later on is strong. And just looking at the trees actually over behind the back straight stands, and they are blowing very, very healthily indeed. So we're quite sheltered here just by the finish line, tucked under the stands. I think the wind is a real factor.
Well, that would maybe certainly explain a few things, and I'm looking at Geiger there. She looks like she's actually quite cold. I mean, we're literally in a sun haven here on the home straight, and actually if anyone could see us, they'd probably think we've gone absolutely crazy. We've actually kind of built a makeshift, I don't
sort
even
of
know
cardboard igloos around our screens so we can see the screens. And even then, the visibility is not great. It's very awkward when the sun, if you're in a commentary position, the sun is shining right in your face. One of the worst things you can do is wear a white shirt, because that then reflects onto your screen so you can't see a thing. Well, we're both in dark shirts and it's still not great visibility here. So it's, challenging circumstances for some of the athletes out there in the wind, and also for us here in the commentary booth. But loving the way this is unfolding. The men's discus is underway. And still only in the first round. Fera, and just looking at this field, and Ferferica of Romania. Alin Ferferica is a 67-metre thrower at his best. Milanov there just stepping into the ring. We'll update you with the progress in that discus as it unfolds, as this steeplechase gets underway.
Well, as the script was written, it surely goes this way as Kate Seary goes right to the front. Really difficult to get pacemakers. You know, I always say this whenever I commentate on a steeplechase event. You've got to be able to clear the barriers and obviously negotiate that water jump. You've got to be a steeplechaser in order to do this. And again, steeplechasers, very much like the 5,000 metres that we've already talked about, Tim, you wouldn't have that many opportunities to run steeplechasers during the year. So really important to plan your season, make sure that you get some quality ones out of it, whichever ones you decide to compete in. So great that Kate Seary has decided that she'll help these women along. Birmingham University student. She runs from Cardiff University, and both the women that I alluded to in the introductory, Louisa Geiger from Albania and Amy Pratt from Great Britain, they've both followed the pacemaker Kate Seary. And Geiger certainly looks like she's not just come to win, she looks like she's trying to run a fast time. I know Amy Pratt and Geiger are really good friends, so I'm sure they've spoke about this one, and it'd be really interesting to see if any tactics unfold. And actually Geiger, really interesting, is come past Kate Seary in these early stages. Maybe she's saying, come on, it's not fast enough.
Well, I'll tell you what, she's a great little athlete, is Geiger. She's a tiny figure, as you can see, but an Olympic finalist last year with 13th, Mediterranean Games champion. She comes down in front of us now with 6 laps to run. She's just slotted in behind the tall figure in red of Kate Seary. Pratt in second place, Amy Pratt, who is a 9:25 performer and will be, after a bit running in the Olympics last year, will be looking to move forward again this year, make the World Championships team and go to Eugene for Great Britain. But they need to be moving around here at least 3:10 for the first kilometre. We'll see what they go through, and they're coming up to about 2 laps run now, Jenny. The first kilometre the first kilometre time is important.
It is important, and really good that Kate Seary could get back on the pace. She could respond to what Geiger asked her to.
Well, we can go over to this discus competition, and it is Barta who's about to throw. The second round, he opened with 61.74, and Barta, well, the Czech is a 64-metre thrower, third in the European Throwing Cup last year, 4 times the Czech champion, and that one 61.70, I think, for Barta. So a very slight improvement. There it is, confirmation. Real consistency, not an improvement, rather the opposite of an improvement. Just 4 centimetres, less than 2 inches down on his opener.
Well, going back to this women's steeplechase, they just went through 1,000 metres in 3:07.55. So just outside 9:20 pace, which is the aim of this finish pace. And we can see that Kate Seary has just done her job. And at this point, Geiger was more than happy to take over that pacemaking duty. Her personal best, 9:19.93 from 3 years ago now. So Amy Pratt will be operating right around her personal best. She has run a marginal personal best this year, 9:25.48, but she absolutely smashed the British record over 2,000 metre steeplechase in 6:08. Very rarely run event, but nonetheless, she improved her personal best to take it back down to those amazing figures of 6:08. So it certainly bodes well over this longer 3,000 metre distance.
So the discus, we have picture-in-picture for the first time this afternoon. You can carry on watching the race and you can enjoy this discus throw now. So Nick Percy has the lead with 62 metres 91. That was his opener. So, and that was Milanov. He's a 67-metre thrower at his best. He opened with 60.66. Well, that's a shame. No throw in the second round. He's down in 4th place at the moment, the Belgian.
Well, good that we could join that men's discus as well as keeping track with this women's 3,000 metre steeplechase. And Geiger looks like she's really put her foot down now. She's not come to Manchester to mess around. And Amy Pratt will be left in a real vulnerable position now. She won't want to lose touch with Geiger, but I think she's operating around about her personal best anyway. So they'll be coming down with 3 laps to go. And on the back straight, we'll be able to get a 2,000 meter split. You can just see that Geiger was looking behind her, trying to work out whether Amy Pratt was still with her. Amy Pratt's a couple of seconds behind her at the moment.
Well, in third place, I think, is Prizacaru of Romania. She's a 9:33 performer, but a long way down on Amy Pratt, who is now isolated, as you said, Jenny. Top of picture there because of Geiger's surge through this middle kilometre. Now back to this discus throw. Greg Thompson of Great Britain is a 65-metre thrower at his best, 3 times the UK champion. He opened with 55.60, did Greg Thompson. Only 5 men in this competition. Chad Wright of Jamaica and Lorison Juan of France are non-starters. On Greg Thompson opened with 55.60, then a 55.80, and that unfortunately is a no throw for Greg Thompson in the third round. That'll be frustrating for the big fella. His season's best, just over 60 metres. He hasn't hit the straps yet, that's for sure.
Well, Louisa Geiger coming up to get over that barrier, just 2 laps to go. She went through 2,000 metres in 6:14.81, so 3:07.5 followed by a 3:07.3. Absolutely metronomic running at the moment. And we can see what she has, somewhat 30 metres over Amy Pratt at the moment.
And Jenny, Amy Pratt's really struggling. She almost climbed over this barrier in front of us just now with a couple of laps to run. She looked really uncomfortable. She's working on. And Geiger, to her credit, is flying down the back straight. She's a lovely, fluid-looking runner.
Yeah, Geiger's a really interesting athlete. I remember when she used to compete over 800 metres. Then she went to the 15. Then she went to the steeplechase. And she's really made sure she's done really well during her early years in her career. She's worked on her speed. But I've got to say, Amy Pratt, she's one of the hardest working athletes that I know. I remember seeing her at the European Under-23 Championships a couple of years ago now, and she really put her foot down. She was brave, she tried to win a medal, and she really just somehow made it to the finish line. An athlete I really admire. Great that she's been to the World Championships and the Olympic Games, but she doesn't give up, Tim, and she's still in there, and she's still probably running around about 8:30 pace.
Geiger coming to the bell then, in isolation, 8:06, 8:07 at the bell. It's quick running from Geiger. This may be her fastest kilometre. As Pratt comes through now, she's fully 7 or 8 seconds down on the leader, Jenny, who has done a fabulous job, Geiger, of pushing the pace on through the middle and latter stages of this race. Back in third place is Prizacaru and Renoir of France. In fact, Renoir has taken third place, and Prizacaru of Romania in fourth. They're having their own little battle, or the French is cutting loose now, getting isolation in third place. But talking of isolation, look at Geiger.
Yeah, Geiger, she deserves to do so well, doesn't she? This is her first race of the season. She was 13th in that Olympic Games last year in Tokyo, 9th in the World Championships in 2019. Obviously, she's got the World Championships this year, but maybe a more realistic mark for her would be that European Championship. She really struggled there, didn't she, in that last water jump. She has won a silver medal previously at the European Championships. She won one in Amsterdam in 2016, and she takes that last barrier there, and she's working really, really hard up to the line. The time has escaped her the last 200 metres or so, and what can she take it in? And actually, what a great finish time, 9:20.80. That last kilometre was the fastest of all of them, so consistent, 3:05.99. And she's within a second of a personal best, team there, very much doing most of it on her own. First race of the season, wonder how fast she can go this year.
Well, it's really clear that Geiger can go a heck of a lot faster than that, as we see some of the tail enders negotiating that water jump. If you're tired and you don't have the momentum, you land in the deep water, and it really is hard work heaving yourself out of it and finishing down around the final bend and into the home straight. But Geiger, well, she's got another 10 or 15 seconds in her. I don't know if she's capable of joining the sub 9-minute club. That has only 7 members. The world record, an astonishing 8:44 by Beatrice Chetkoech in Monaco 4 years ago. But she's certainly capable of going below sub 9:10, I would say.
Well, I certainly do not disagree with you. It was a great race, and we talked about that wind, didn't we? And the trees blowing, as your very keen eye was watching from our commentary position there over on the back straight. And if it is windy, that makes that time even more impressive.
No, it's a very good point. Although she is tiny, so I guess you could say the wind misses her. You know, she doesn't get really wet when it rains. She's that small as Geiger, but what a powerful little athlete she is. Great power to weight ratio, and to come home in so close, a click outside her lifetime best, and she's been around a few years now. That was a superb run from Luisa Geiger, clearly in shape to run a huge personal best in coming races. Might be a force yet this summer amongst the best of the Europeans. Well, the next event on the track is the women's at 100 metres. There's plenty of action going on in the stadium. The men's pole vault is in full throw, so is the men's discus. We'll update you with those as soon as we can. Let's just take a quick look at the pole vault. The pole vault at the moment, the bar is at 5:45. Harry Koppel cleared 5:30 at the third time of asking his opening height. He nearly had a big problem at his opening height, did the British record holder. He's lying in 4th place at the moment. Adam Haig of Great Britain has had 3 first-time clearances at 5:15, 5:30 and 5:45. There's now 4 men clear at 5:45 in that men's pole vault. Nate Richards of the USA in second with 2 clearances, first time, 5:30 and 5:45. And we can go back to that, over to that pole vault now, and it's Tommi Holtinen of Finland. Well, Holtinen opened with 5:15, went to 5:30, but Diane is with the winner, Geiger.
Louisa, congratulations on a brilliant win there, a new stadium record which you took from our own homegirl Amy Pratt, but we'll let you have that. Tell us about that win in that fantastic time. How are you feeling?
Oh, it's the second time I came here in Manchester when it was for indoors. I'm so happy. Okay, I can turn maybe a little bit faster to break the barrier down 9:20, but okay, it was good. The win is the win, and I'm happy.
Talk to us about that last water steeple where, tell us about that. Do you think you lost something there? Pretty quick time.
Yes, because usually I push with the right leg, and I was confused till the last meters, and I push with the left, and I stuck in the water, but okay, maybe next race.
Well done, fantastic win for you again. Please accept your winner's check. Well done, Louisa.
Those checks are courtesy of our title sponsors, BoXX United. Second year of this BoXX United Britain Sports.
Well, here is the full results. Louisa Geiger 9:20.79, Amy Pratt 9:30.46, still incredibly quick. And it was Flavia Renard of France in 3rd position. There is the full results. And I can only imagine being that tired and approaching that water jump, approaching that barrier with a wrong leg. She certainly looks like she can knock a good chunk off that personal best.
Well, the next event on the track is the women's 100 metres. And there is the lineup. It's a small field, but a good quality field, I have to tell you. Tanya Gaither goes in lane 3 for the Bahamas. her best 11.11 this year against a lifetime best from last year of 11.02. She is in very good shape. In lane 4, Kayla White of the USA, third in the US indoors over 60 meters this year. She's a 10.95 athlete at her absolute best, 11.1 this year. Shannon Ray goes in lane 5. Ray from the USA, 11.24 this year, and that is a personal best, so she's in good shape. In lane 6, Tristan Evelyn went down the heats of the Olympic Games last year, the Bayesian. 11.31 this year, but she ran 11.1 in 2021. And completing the lineup in lane 7, Mathilde Kramer of Denmark, 11.73 this year. That's all, but against her best of 11.4 this last year. If she can go down towards the 11.4s, she could be competitive in this field, but on paper, she will struggle. Well, the fastest time in the world is here, 10.67 by Shelley Ann Fraser-Price. That was in the Nairobi Continental Tour Gold meeting back on the 7th of May. So what's almost a month ago. The Jamaican running incredibly quickly with that altitude assistance in the Kenyan capital. But here we are in Manchester on a glorious afternoon. But as I say that, so the wind has just picked up for the first time this afternoon. I felt some wind coming from our right here near the finish line. That will mean quite a strong headwind for these ladies if it's maintained. Let's hope it's not going to be windy as they get underway. Gaither in 3, White in 4, Ray in 5, Evelyn in 6, Kramer nearest the camera in 7. Well, away they go now. On paper, by far the quicker is Kayla White, second from right for the USA. Is she going to take this one? It's very tight indeed, but I think it's the athlete over in lane 3 who takes it. Tanya Gaither takes it, 11.31. Well, the wind was without any doubt tough, minus 1.1 in their faces. That certainly doesn't help. Turn that wind around and they'd run a good deal quicker, much closer to 11 seconds. But a really competitive race there, and Gaither turning back the challenge, the Bahamian, in lane 3, the challenge with the two Americans, Kayla White in lane 4, who I think was second, and Shannon Ray in lane 5. Well, we're going to see how that one panned out. Take a quick look at the result that comes through. Yeah, 11.31 for Gaither from the Bahamas, and she has run 11.11 this year. That may be some indication of the effects of the wind. She's exactly 0.2 of a second down on what she's run before this year. And it's a lovely afternoon here in Manchester. I have to emphasise, if you've joined us in the last half hour, it's a lovely warm afternoon. It was about 24 degrees. Now, Jenny, probably 21 degrees centigrade here.
Oh, it's still definitely a heat wave for the northwest of England. And hopefully that'll encourage a lot of athletes to come back again to this meeting next year. The second edition of this outdoor meeting. And it's really building, and now it's got the level of World Continental Tour Silver. And of course, if the athletes run well, if they get good performances, if this meet can attract more and more people, I'm sure the meet director Diane Modahl would love to push for it to be a gold. But absolutely great that we've got one of these meetings as well as a Diamond League now in the UK.
Great win for you there, Tanya. What were your thoughts on that race?
I just wanted to get a good start. That's the problem area. So I really tried to focus on that and just trust my strength after that.
I believe you've got the fastest time in the world this year. What are your hopes moving forward? You know, we've got the Commonwealth Games here in Birmingham. How are the plans going?
I don't think I have the fastest time, but that's the plan. That's the goal. Just tuning up, getting ready for World Champs. I have a couple more meets on this side of the world, and then I'll be back home to train.
Congratulations, thank you. I've just gifted you the fastest time in the world. Take it, take it. Here is your winner's check. Well done.
Take the check anyway, though. Thank you to BoXX United.
Well, I'm sure Tanya Gaither would love to be the fastest athlete in the world this year. I'm not quite sure where that came from, but something lost in translation. She has run 11.02, but 11.31 today. Has run 11.11 this year. And there is confirmation of that win for Gaither ahead of White and Ray, second and third for the Americans, with Tristan Evelyn of Barbados and Mathilde Kramer of Denmark bringing up the 4th and 5th places.
So from one 100 metres to the next, this is the men's 100 metres. This is our lineup. We have 7 going in this one using lanes 2 to 8. we saw the women a couple of tenths of a second just outside their season's bests. So it'll be really interesting to see how the men go over this distance. Fastest season's best so far comes from Oligulu from Nigeria, 10.2. That was hand timed. And we've also got Quinn from the US, 10.26 this year. He's actually the quickest in the field on personal best, just an agonising 100th outside 10 seconds. 10.01 is his personal best. That's Devin Quinn. He's going to go in lane 5 from the US. So we do expect to see Kojo Musa from Denmark in lane 1, Kieran Daly from Great Britain in 2, Andrew Robinson, watch for his start, he's a prolific indoor specialist. He goes in lane 4, Devin Quinn from America in 5, Karl Nazarov from Estonia in 6, Solomon Bakari from the Netherlands in 7, and Seyi Ugulu from Nigeria, he'll go on the outside in lane 8. So actually, just looking down and being fed a little bit of information that we think there's a couple of non-starters in this one. Unfortunately, we do lose Quinn. We're looking forward to seeing him. And also Ogulu on the outside. So we should have lane 5 and lane 8 as empty lanes. So we are expecting to see in lane 2 the national record holder Musa from Denmark. There he is. He goes in this one. In lane 3 we should see Kieran Daly. He's come 3rd recently in the Loughborough International match just last weekend. He goes for Great Britain in lane 3. And in the black, Andrew Robinson. He runs, this is his home track, he runs for Sale Harriers Manchester. He goes in lane 4. Numerous medalists indoors and outdoors at the British Championships. 4th once last year, in fact, at the European Indoor Championships. Just agonisingly missing that medal, that opportunity on the podium. Nazarov, he made that European Indoor final last year over 60 metres. He goes in lane 6. And Solomon Bakari from the Netherlands, he goes in lane 7. So the men's 100 metres. Musa in 2, Daly 3, Robinson 4, 5 is empty, Nazarov in 6, and Bakari in 7. Just settling into the blocks. So they're away, and I'm just trying to see who got a good start. Andrew Robinson certainly looked like he started pretty quick. Well, who is this on the inside? That's Musa, I think, from Denmark. Just looking at the finish time, 10:57, and really importantly, that wind reading minus 2.2 meters per second. So that means that the athletes are facing a headwind. It definitely affects these athletes, and 10.57, looking at that caliber of athletes, you thought the winning time would be a little bit quicker, but I think that 10.57 into that minus 2.2 might very much tell the tale. So who did get it? It certainly looked like Musa had a good finish, and I'm just looking at the clock in the stadium. It has just been rounded down to 10.55, and actually it was the Estonian who's been given it. The Estonian athlete out in lane 6. He was given it actually quite convincingly in the end in front of Musa. He was in lane 6 versus Musa in lane 2. 10.55 versus 10.59.
Well, it was pretty close. I mean, 4/100ths of a second, but I thought Musa got it. But Nazarov in lane 6, you say, Karl-Erik Nazarov of Estonia taking that one. And he's a 10:39 athlete against Musa, who's a 10:1 performer. European Indoor 60 finalist last year. But Nazarov, well, taking some very useful scalps there. And actually, you look at his form this year, he was 4th at the World Indoors over 60 metres in Belgrade. back in March, so he has been in good form this year. That 10:39 is his personal best set this year, and I suspect Jen, there's a couple of chunks to come off that, couple of attempts to come off that by the Estonian.
Yeah, really interesting, because you actually said about that amazing 60 metres that he had indoors, and I remember that, and he really shocked a lot of the crowd. You know, he brought it to the Americans and obviously Jacobs of Italy, but wow, his start wasn't the best considering he ran so well at that 60 metres. And here is the full result: Nazarov 10:55, Musar 10:59, and Andrew Robertson from Great Britain third place 10:64.
Well, just a couple of events to come on the track. The women's 1,500 metres and the men's 5,000 metres. The men's Ron Hill 5,000 metres. It has been given that title. Ron Hill, the great marathon legend who passed away just last year. And Ron was a delightful man. You may be familiar with the Ron Hill clothing line. He founded that back in the 1970s, I think, Ron Hill. He was a specialist, a scientist who learnt all about materials and set up his own clothing company, which he then sold, and I suspect lived in reasonable comfort. Old Ron, he was a lovely fella, Commonwealth champion, European champion, I think, and an Olympic medalist. I mean, he had an astonishing record of achievement, Ron, and prided himself on the longest ever running streak there's been. I think for something in crazy, like 50 or 60 years, he didn't miss a day's training. I remember having a chat with him once, saying, "Ron, you must have had flu on occasion. He'd had knee operations." He said, "Yep, I used to hobble a mile around the hospital."
Yep.
I'm not sure it's healthy advice. But
1 mile. I actually thought, what does constitute, running every day? But 1 mile was his mark. So here we go. This is the women's 1,500 metres. Ava Lloyd on the outside. She has been given the job of pacing this. So really good experience for the young junior athletes. And Tim, I think you're going to take us through this lineup.
Well, I'm going to, yeah. It's a big field. I wonder if the wind will again affect this one. I really hope not. It is quite a big field. You see Scalabas there. Delia Scalabas of Switzerland. She's a 4:10 athlete out of her foot best. Miriam Costa of Spain, 4:17, 5th in the Spanish Indoor Championships. You can see the size of that field. 16 athletes, I make it, out there. The pacemaker is tasked with going around in 2:09. So let's see if they go with the pace here, because that would be about 4:02 pace. The stadium record is 4:07, as you can see. That is vulnerable. One or two athletes in this field have gone quicker. The Czech Diana Medzulia-Nikova has run 4:03 last year, and they have gone off at a healthy tempo, I have to say that. Ava Lloyd, it is tasked with taking them round for the first couple of laps. Hartigan is in there as well. Georgie Hartigan has set up a stall early on, the Irish athlete in third place. She's a 4:09 performer. That lifetime best has come this year. She's the Irish indoor champion, Hartigan, and looking up for this as they come down towards us with 3 laps to go as they go through the line.
Well, a really nice healthy pace. They're hoping to go through 800 metres in around about 2:09. Ava Lloyd has been asked to go for 700, maybe 750 metres. And I think a finish time of around about 4:05 or just inside that would be a really good return. And I'm just trying to find what time they've gone through. And Ava's done a brilliant job there. 64.49, absolutely brilliant.
Well, that is quick. It's only a click outside 4-minute tempo. 64 seconds per lap would bring them home in exactly 4 minutes. So they're moving at about 2:02 tempo, and certainly still up there is Scalabas and Hartigan, and Blomqvist is there too for Finland. She's only 4:11 performer, so several athletes here running at personal best tempo. But good to see them really attacking this and following the pacemaking, which is going so well at the moment. Certainly Ava Lloyd is keeping them in contact. Let's hope this second lap isn't too slow compared with the first, and they're bunching behind her, which would suggest it slowed a little bit as they go through with 2 laps to run.
Well, Delia Scalabas, she's been a prolific junior athlete. She's won medals at European juniors and world juniors over 800, 1,500 metres, and she can even go to 3,000 metres as well. And I think Ava Lloyd got out of the way just in time there. The time has slipped a little bit, 2:13.79, so that was a 69.3. I think they were looking for inside 2:10, but still it's a really healthy pace if we look at the personal best of a few of these athletes.
Yeah, they slowed very significantly, didn't they? Went 64.4 and then 69.3. That second lap much slower. That's why they were bunching. It takes real concentration and focus and aggression to maintain a healthy pace for the second and third laps of 1500 or the metric mile as it is. Traditionally, of course, the mile races in the past used to slow in the third lap before everybody gathered themselves physically and psychologically for the big push over the final lap. But here we go on this third lap. They come through the bell this time, and we've got a group of 6 who have got away. Still Scalabus leading. And in second place is Zanoni of Italy. And these 6 pushing on into the back straight now.
Yeah, Zizzoni has took really close order there. She's already run a personal best this year of 4:07.29, and I think the winning time looks like it might challenge that sort of time at the moment, as Zizzoni actually overtakes Glabas there. You can see that she's kicked in with 300 meters to go, and just following the pace there is also Mega from Poland. She's run a brilliant time this year, 4:04.90, Polish champion last year, and she looks ready to kick, doesn't she?
Into the last 150 then. Mega of Poland, Polish champion, looking strong as they come into the straight now. And still 5 athletes there. It's going to be really tight. Who's got the speed? Who's got the change of gear? As they come down the straight now. Zanoni battling hard, stay in front. Coming down the outside is Blomqvist. Really tight at the line. And the winning time, 4:10.20. Well, that's not bad at all when it slipped to 2:13 at 800 meters. It's about the racing in these windy conditions. And I think, you know, it's probably sensible, I suppose, Jenny, when you get to a track and you want to run a quick time and then you can see it's a windy day, why battle against that wind and try and produce a half decent time against the wind instead of just saying, do you know what, this is a day for exercising my sort of tactical preparations. Let's just practice getting the tactics right in a race. Don't worry about the times. And that, I think, is probably what a lot of the middle distance runners have done today. You know, we've still got a 5,000 metre to come, that men's Ron Hill 5,000 metres. But I think it's a sensible attitude to say, well, we're not going to, no matter what we do, this wind is too strong to run a fast time.
Yeah, and I think the sport of athletics, by the very nature of it, you know, we're obsessed with numbers, you know, whether that's how high you can jump, how far you can jump, how far you can throw, how fast you can run. You know, we do get really caught up sometimes with these numbers, but you know, championships is about racing. No one cares about the times, it's the positions, and great that a lot of these athletes can pressure test them, you know, in that race environment. And you know, never a true word said, Tim. It's sometimes about the races and not just the times. So we've got a women's long jump, which is just starting. Well, I say starting. I think they've actually been out there for a while now.
We're just seeing the best of the action, and that's Brooke Bushkuhl of Australia. She opened with 6:44, and that ended up being her best jump the competition has completed. The Australian winner was 6:44 ahead of Portugal's Evelisa Veiga, 6:32, and Abigail Rosaru of Great Britain third with her opener 6:24. And the women's long jump, well, Brooke Bushkuhl used to be Brooke Stratton, the Australian. She's a 7-metre plus jumper. She's a fabulous athlete, 7th in the Olympic Games in Rio, and can you believe 7th last year in Tokyo as well, the Australian record holder. Marta Zanoni taking that 1,500 metres in 4:10, Jenny. Again, the win is the most important factor. Anything on top of that is icing on the cake. .10.20 there for Marta Zanoni. I'm not sure if we're going to get an interview with her. Maybe. She's not a big English speaker, and I wouldn't criticise her one bit for that, because my Italian is non-existent. Wish I did speak it. It's a lovely language.
Well, just seeing images there of the British champion Harry Koppel. just had a run through there. Try and keep you updated with what height that was. I think that was Harry's attempt at 5:45.
Well, there's the result of the men's discus. Barta 63.65 ahead of Feferica of Romania, 63.08, 62.91 for Nick Percy of Great Britain in third place. And these fellas were throwing with a tailwind because they were throwing up the back straight, so to speak. The circle, the cage for the discus throws is near the 1500 metre start, and they like a headwind, the discus throws. The wind wasn't doing them any favours either today, just to compound things.
So a couple of events still going on in the field. We've got that men's pole vault, and I think we'll see a result of the women's long jump at some point. And on the track we've got one event left. It's the Ron Hill men's 5,000 metres.
Jenny, I'm not going to ask you if you ever ran a 5,000. You might have done a park run or two, but did you ever do a 1,500?
Oh, I wish you'd not asked me that either, Tim. I've done one years ago for my club. I'll not tell you my results, but here is the result of the women's long jump. It was Bunichel of Australia, 6:44, taking the win. Vega of Portugal, 6:32, and it was Abigail Eraruzu in third position.
Yes, the Australian was always going to be the real class act in that. Brooke Bushkuhl, 6th in the World Championships in London 2017. She's a real power pack, quite small but incredibly powerful. One of these jumpers who looks like she can defy gravity is Brooke Bushkuhl, the Australian. She's a 7:05 jumper, 7 metres and 5 centimetres. Just to mark your card as to how good that is, only one athlete this year has gone over 7 metres, and that's the world champion Malaika Mahambo. That was in Birmingham just a couple of weeks ago at the Diamond League meeting, but anything close to 7 metres is superb jumping. Now back to this men's pole vault. The bar is at 5:55. We've got 3 men clear at that height. Harry Koppel has had 2 failures. He's got 1 attempt left, but Koen van der Wiest is next to go. He's had 2 failures. He's under real pressure, is the Dutchman. Van der Wiest is a 5:43 performer. He's already set a personal best today of 5:45. He's had a good afternoon, and that wasn't a bad attempt. He went for it. His third and final attempt at 5:45. But I tell you what, the Dutch, who've had some pretty good vaulters in the past, have another big talent here. He's a former world and European junior finalist. He's already jumped a lifetime best here today by a couple of centimetres. Van der Wiest, 3 failures at 5:55, but he got over 5:45 at the second time of asking. So good day's work for him. Finishes in 6th place. The lead still held by Adam Haig, who's going supremely, sharing that with Nate Richards of the USA as the Briton. Both of them have had perfect clearances.
So the last event on the track, you can see that we've got 2 start lines. We've got so many athletes going in this, and on my sheets, my reference points, I've got 25 names on this one, so I'm not going to possibly go through every single one of them. Hopefully we'll get an opportunity to talk about several of the athletes as the race progresses. But the athletes to look out for is Silva of Norway, probably Fopen of the Netherlands, Nordas of Norway. We're expecting Kebet of Kenya to feature in this as well. Maybe Jack Rowe of Great Britain. And moving on to my second page, Albert Lille-Issu of Denmark. We've got Hassan of Sweden. Who else should feature? Arasa of the USA. Probably looking at Well, I was going to say, we had a name on our sheet. Unfortunately, he's not here. We did have Henrik Ingebrigtsen, and I've not crossed him out. He's not a starter here, Tim, but we got very excited when we saw that name, didn't we? Of course, the Ingebrigtsen family, 3 brothers. Jakob, now the Olympic champion over 1,500 metres. But again, just got to really say well done to meet director Vincenti Modahl for assembling such a good calibre of athletes, and by the number of people here on my start list, it certainly looks like Manchester was a big draw for a lot of these athletes. Not just come from Great Britain and Europe, we've got people from America, we've got quite a few Africans as well. And Tim, you're just giving me some statistics.
Well, I don't know about statistics. There's a couple of athletes are late withdrawals from this one, I understand. Sergio Jimenez of Spain and 20 Ossian Perrin of Great Britain. I did hear, though, from the meeting director that Mike Foppen of the Netherlands is in very good shape and might be going for a personal best here. He's gone 13.13. That means and actually Vincenti Modahl said he is in about 13.10 shape. So they get underway, and a lot of responsibility down to the pacemakers here. They're looking for about 5.17 at 2,000, and that would mean running around 13.5, 13.10 tempo. So really ambitious plans by one or two of the athletes out there, and you don't get pacemaking numbers thrown out at you willy-nilly. Well, you certainly shouldn't do. It's very rare. They will have been consulting with the athletes, and the athletes will have said, yep, I'm up for this. So whether or not Mike Foppen or anybody else here is up to run 13.10 or thereabouts in these breezy conditions is another matter, but certainly there is some optimism in that field.
Yeah, well, we were due to have pacing here from Michael Ward of Great Britain, but looking at this, Quebec, he's just gone straight to the front, and as far as I'm aware, he is actually in the race. He's not given pacemaker duties this afternoon, so certainly looks like there's an appetite, and 60.75 seconds for that first 400 metres.
Well, that's very close to world record tempo, isn't it? The world record, remember, by Joshua Cheptegei back in 2020 in Monaco was 12.35. I mean, it's hard to believe, is it? Hard to get your head around the fact that he ran 4.02 for a mile 3 times without any break. Almost, it works out at about 60.4 per lap. So very close to world record tempo for this opening 600 metres or so, and they are way out in front already.
Well, it is that red vest of Michael Ward who seems to be going through in around about 4th position, and I can actually see Foppen behind him, so maybe it looks like he is taking the pace around about that 13.10 that we spoke about.
Well, back to this pole vault where things are beginning to reach a climax, if you forgive me. And Richards there has his first attempt at 5.65, and that's a failure. Adam Haig has had his first failure of the afternoon as well, so the leading pair both failing for the first time at 5.65. Harry Koppel, by the way, still in it, cleared 5.55 at the 3rd attempt.
Well, certainly there looks like there's 2 races within 1 here as Michael Ward takes up the pace. The 3rd person down the track in that red vest, so he is leading the rest of the competitors. But it is Quebec still at the front. He went through 800 metres in 2:08, and it is Zakayo, also a Kenya, in 2nd place.
Zakayo, yes, in 2nd place. Edward Zakayo is a 13.03 performer, his absolute best. He's run 13.20 this year. That might have been his opening run, in which case it could be up something special here. And that gap is already 30 metres, maybe 40 metres back to the chasers, right of picture. It's quick, there's no doubt about it.
It's really quick, isn't it? And here we go, 1,200 metres. That was a 63 lap. So we've had a 60 and bits, we've had a 63, followed by another 63. So the pace is settling now.
Well, I didn't see the split for the opening kilometre if it came up, but it would have been down there around 2:35, something like that. Very quick indeed. In fact, Jenny, that's inside 13-minute tempo. Zakayo, World Under-20 champion back in 2018, is the Commonwealth bronze medalist, is the Kenyan. and he's hanging onto the coattails of Mike Kibet at a very, very quick tempo. Back in the pole vault, that continues over at the far end of the stadium from where we are. And Rutger Koppeler cleared 5:55 for the first time of asking. He's still very much involved, but Koppeler goes over at 5:65 and takes the lead from Haig and Richards. Koppel back in 4th place at the moment. The Dutchman going really well.
Well, Kibet and Zakayo have got World Championship qualification standards as their personal best, but I'm just wondering whether they've got it in this qualification window, Tim. Maybe they've had a little bit of a chat, they've decided to go for it. Certainly both of the season's best are not within that window, so definitely a little bit of teamwork going on at this moment.
Well, it was 4:12 at 4 lap, 4:12.1. They're averaging 63 seconds per lap. They come down in front of us now, and what's the clocking there? About 4:40 and 4.5 laps. But the gap hasn't grown, mind you. I just wonder if they are slowing a little bit and if the pack is picking it up, the chase. They're in single file, the pack, so even they're shifting at a really good tempo. And if the two to the left of picture are moving at around 13:05, 13:10 pace, then of course the pack are certainly moving at something inside 13:20 pace. This is building into a very, very good 5,000 metres.
Yeah, just trying to see the competitors behind the pacemaker there, who's in 3rd position in that red vest. I think it looked like a Rasa from the USA, who has got a 13:12 personal best, and he's followed by Mike Fobben of the Netherlands, who's got a personal best really similar, 13:13. So it looks like they're taking really close order behind the pacemaker, and as I say that, I think the pacemaker is drawn clear now.
And Harry Koppel runs through on his first attempt at 5:65. That means he can't win unless he clears the next like 5:75 with Rutger Koppeler having gone clear.
Well, Rasa was looking for help there. I saw him do a quick arm signal to say to Fobben and the ones who were just queuing up behind him, come on, give me some help. If we're going to do this together, if we're trying to get that World Championship qualification time, I need some help. I can't do it on my own.
Well, the leading pair, Zakayo and Kibet, pushing on now. Kibet and Zakayo have swapped places. They're certainly sharing the work. There is a 62-second lap there. They've kicked in a little bit. And Zakayo, with that forward lean of his very economical style, not much knee lift. You can see Kibet in the yellow is much higher knee lift behind, foot lift behind him. Hanging on to the coattails of Zakayo here, so I get the feeling is applying pressure now mid-race. Great running from these two, and the gap has certainly widened to the chasing pack. It's about 60 metres now between this pair and the rest.
Well, Fobben it is who's now leading the chasing pack. I said about that hand signal for Arasa, he said, come on guys, I'm going to need some help. And I think Fobben was a reluctant leader. As just looking back now, he's fallen back to 2nd in that 2nd pack. And I'm just wondering whether the pace is going to slip for the two of them. But looking right at the leaders now, Zakayo, he looks like he's going away from Kibet now. Kibet is struggling. Is he struggling, or is Zakayo actually winding this up?
Well, it was a 62.7, then a 63.3, so Zakayo maintaining a really high tempo here, and I think it's just the pressure of this pace that is making Kibet drop back. Kibet, remembers a 13.30 guy this year, but he has run 13.11 a couple of years ago, 4th in the Kenyan Championships earlier on this season. But as he comes through now, this is 3,000 metres, 7:53.1 for Zakayo. Edward Zakayo of Kenya doing a great job. He's on schedule for something around 13:08. Richards goes clear in the vault at 5:65, moves him into 2nd place. That was his 2nd attempt. Remember, Rutger Koppeler of the Netherlands cleared 1st time. Adam Haig of Britain shunted down to 3rd now.
7:53 at 3,000 metres. I know going under 8 minutes for any man in the 3K is always that sign of international to world class, and he's done that with 2 kilometres to go, and he's really stringing this field out now. He's moving away from Kibet with every single lap. What? It's got to be some 35-40 metres gap now, Tim.
That was another 63-second lap from Zakayo, who's doing a fabulous job here. This is hard work on your own, in a breeze. To be running around 13:10 tempo is very, very strong running indeed. He's looking fantastic. Comes through with 4 laps to run, 8:57 there. Well, if he runs 4:10, he could run 13:07. If he runs 4:15, obviously he'll run about 13:12. And the gap between him and Kibet, probably 50 metres, and Kibet, if anything, maybe just getting reeled in now. Mike Foppen of the Netherlands is leading the chasing group and might be catching Kibet, although actually it's still about 60-65 metres back to the main pack.
Well, this just shows the star quality that we're seeing today. Foppen is a Dutch Olympic representative, 7 times Dutch record holder.
64 that lap, he slowed a little bit there. We just saw, by the way, Harry Koppel go clear at the second time at 5:65. It was really quick, that picture-in-picture, but we now have 3 men clear at 5:65. Still Koppel leading with that first-time clearance, and Nate Richards in second with a second-time clearance. Harry Koppel in third with a second-time clearance on countback. Adam Haig in fourth, has 1 attempt left. He's next to go.
Well, we've got ourselves a real competition in this men's 5,000 metres. There's a real competition going on in the men's pole vault as well. And I'm just watching that group behind the 2 leaders. And it looks like it's Nordas of Norway, who's just took on the pace ahead of Foppen now. Looks like they're really working hard together. We just see the pack there come through with 3 laps to go. They'll see Kibet round about 40 metres ahead of them, and oh gosh, maybe 50-60 metres ahead of him now is Zakayo. Well, we're just seeing Arasa. He was one of the early leaders of that second pack. He's just stepped off.
2:41 that 4th kilometre by the leader Zakayo. He's on schedule to run something between 13:10 and 13:15. If he can close strongly, he's coming down the straight towards us with 2 laps to run. If he can close strongly, he's going to run a long way under 13:20. He's looking tired, mind you, as he comes through. 11:06 on the clock with 2 laps to go. Zakayo looking superb. Kibet has kept working away, although the chasing pack is now about 30 metres down on him. Kibet goes through in the yellow vest, but is this leading pair, this chasing pair, going to catch him?
Well, he's had to do the second half of this race all on his own, Zakayo. That World Championship qualification standard is 13:13:50, and he looks like he's bang on to get around about that time, if our calculations are right. And there he is, going into the final 600 metres of this race now. He just needs to hold this pace. He tries to hold these 63-second laps, and he's some 80 metres in front of Kibet now. But looking behind him, I'm looking at Nordas, I'm looking at Foppen. They're only around about 25 metres behind Kibet now.
Coming to the line then with 1 lap to run is our race-long leader, Edward Zakayo. He's destroyed this field. He goes through now with 12:11 on the clock. Can he summon up a lap close to 60 seconds here to go close to 13:10? Kibet coming through, Jenny, has looked tired, although he's rallied over the last couple of laps. But the battle for 3rd place is what's dragging them closer. Mike Foppen, and certainly behind him is Nordas of Norway. They are in 3rd and 4th, and in 5th place, great running from the Dane, Ibla Lileso. He's only a 13:31 athlete, but he's on schedule for something significantly quicker.
Well, our eyes are all over this track. We're watching the leader, we're watching Zakayo, we're watching Kibet, and we're also watching this sprint finish from Foppen and Nordas as they're really reeling in Kibet now.
Would be cruel if they caught Kibet there in the yellow, but I think they might do. Mike Foppen of the Netherlands is on a charge in the headband. This is the leader though, Jenny, and what a run, what a dominant run from Edward Zakayo.
Yeah, it's such a dominant victory, and is inside that World Championship qualification standard, 13:13:04, and here is Foppen in 2nd place.
Foppen and Nordas take 2nd and 3rd. Kibet 4th there, cruel that, and 5th place Ibla Lileso. Good times, 13:34 on the clock. The rest of them come through. Sperrsvela of Norway, I think, taking 6th place there. Some hard running there from all these fellas. Absolutely redlining. When you get drops into 5,000, it's because you simply cannot live with a pace. And from then on, it hurts a lot, I can tell you from first-hand experience.
Well, what a race. A race at the front, a race mid-pack. And that last 400 metres was so exciting for the neutral person to watch. Bobbin really doing well to overhaul Quebec, our early leader, and to get a World Championship qualification standard in the men's 5,000 metres. And we did say we thought the weather wasn't really productive to it. They've just put on an absolute show, haven't they, Tim? And that's the fastest this track has ever seen.
Yeah, it's a stadium record, or a meeting record, I should say, by over 45 seconds. I mean, it's a monstrous performance. And actually, I'm just thinking about the way the performances come through to that might be the performance of the meeting. 13:13 for a 5,000 in breezy conditions. The the pole vault is still going really well. There's 3 men now vaulting at 5.75. There's confirmation of that women's 100-meter hurdles. Mette Gravesgaard 12.99 out of Gina Lim 13.02. Jess Hunter a good third 13.18, and a bit of a gap back to Emma Noafor there 13.44 in 4th place. But Jenny, I'm just trying to go through the results in my mind, and I think it's tough to find a performance that is as good as that 13.13. Just confirmation of Brooke Bushkuhl's win, 6.44, good win over Vega of Portugal in that long jump over Abigail Rosaru.
I agree with you, it was great, wasn't it? I still keep going back to Louisa Geiger in the 3,000 metre steeplechase. She ran very well, didn't she, as well? Really good performance.
The manner of the win was extraordinary as opposed to the level of the performance. When you think the world record is 8.44, she ran what, 9.20?
Yeah, 9.20, but well within that World Championship qualification standard as well for the women's steeplechase.
I thought it was 9.20 the standard. Is it not?
Oh, I think
because she mentioned that you wanted to get on 9.20. Oh, okay. I'm sure you're right. I'm dreadful on that sort of thing. We can check. But Zakayo, the leader, just down in front of us now, chatting away with some teammates here in the Manchester Regional Arena. As the shadows lengthen, that does conclude the action on the track. But that pole vault continues. And now Harry Koppel, first attempt at 5.75. Oh, that was pretty close, I think. Third guy to go at it, Rutger Koppelaar in the lead, failed his first attempt. Nate Richards in second, fails his first attempt. And Harry Koppel in turn, in 3rd place, fails his first attempt. So this is the do or die height, I get the feeling, Jenny.
Yeah, it's a really respectable height, isn't it? I think the World Championship qualification height is 5.80. Just looking further down the field, really good return to form for Adam Haig. He cleared 5.55, so he will be pleased, will the Briton, after lots of injuries over the last couple of years. But yeah, that 5.65, 3 men to get clear at that, and 5.75 is undoubtedly finding them all out in this early stage.
Yeah, well, 5.75, you're nudging into serious world-class territory there. I don't know where world-class starts, you can argue about it. Shall we say 5.70 for argument's sake? 5.75 is tough vaulting, especially in these breezy conditions, and I think actually, because they're vaulting from left to right across the second bend, they've probably got the wind coming from their right, maybe a little bit in their faces.
This to take the lead, currently in 2nd place, 2nd attempt at 5.75 in the hall.
Well, that is the only action left in the arena, and fittingly it's reaching a really high standard, and we've got a great situation. Adam Haig, by the way, failed his 3 attempts at 5.65, so finishes up in 4th place. That's a shame. He had a perfect card at the 4 previous heights, cleared each one at the first time of asking, whereas Harry Koppel, cleared 5.30 at the 3rd time of asking, but then popped over 5.45, then 3rd time at 5.55, 2nd time at 5.65. He's had a busy afternoon.
He's had a lot of vaults, hasn't he?
Well, and this is Koppelaar, I think, taking his 2nd attempt at 5.75. Oh, it's Richards, excuse me. My apologies. Nate Richards of the USA. his second attempt at 5.75. And Nate Richards, well, his indoor personal best from last year is 5.75. He's vaulted 5.72 this year, so this is a new outdoor personal best he's attempting here, the American, who was sixth in the US Indoor Championships earlier on this winter. Richards has failed his second attempt. Pings that one off with his feet. Harry Koppel, of course, the 25-year-old British record holder who was 7th in Tokyo, perfectly capable of this height. His UK record set back in September 2020 is 5.85. The meeting record, by the way, is a rather impressive I was going to say rather impressive. I read it wrong. I thought it was 5.95. It's 4.95 by Jack Phipps. So that is gone. Don't think that was a tough ask. Coppola next to go. 6 times the Dutch champion is Rutger Coppola. This would be a new season's best for him. He's a 5.80 vaulter at his best. Oh, that was close. Good effort by Coppola. He knows it's there. 2 failures for Coppola now, 2 failures for Richards. Coppola sitting pretty because he has the lead on countback, having cleared 5.65 first time against Richards' second time clearance, and Harry Coppola now has a chance to snatch the lead with his second attempt coming up.
Yeah, so the next competitor we should see is Harry Koppel. This will be his second attempt at 5.75, and if he can clear it, it really puts him in the driving seat, which would be quite ironic despite some of his early failures at some of his earlier attempts. He likes his stadium. This is where he actually set the British record, September 2020, when we had that delayed British Championships. Because of COVID, it was great that they could stage it on that occasion. And I'm very much told that all the pole vaulters like this arena here in Manchester.
Now, Jen, Harry's a local athlete to you, isn't he? He's from Wigan, just up the road.
He is. He's from my club. And it was great to see him and Emily Borthwick, both Wigan Harriers, same club as me. They went to Tokyo Olympics, so great to see 2 young athletes develop over the years. And here's Harry. Just seems that he's getting everything in order before he has this second attempt.
At 1.75 m, he's actually, what's that, about 5'9"? He's on the short side for a vaulter, isn't he, Harry? He's very powerfully built, but for 5'9", 5'10" for a vaulter, he's on the small side.
It is. I think vaulters come in all shapes and sizes, don't they, these days? It's really a speed and a power event these days. Doesn't come from a gymnastics background like quite a few of the females have in previous years. He's always been a pole vaulter, pretty decent high jump as well in his younger days. But here he is. This is his second attempt at that 5.65 height, and all the crowd are really engrossed in this one. People are clapping, trying to get behind him. They know the significance of this vault.
This really would give his season a massive springboard. Harry Koppel, second attempt at 5.75. Nobody clear yet. Coppola and Richards ahead of. Oh, that's a shame. He's got to believe it, Harry Koppel. He's got to believe it. He's cleared his height plenty of times. He's a 5.85 vaulter, and he actually did that here in September last year, his British record. He's cleared 5.80 a couple of times indoors back in 2020. So there's his card. Stays in third place, frustrating that. But Coppola has an attempt left. Pressure is not really on him. He has the lead because he vaulted so well with those first time clearances at 5.55 and 5.65. And Jenny, 13.13 for Zakayo to win by well over 12 seconds from Mike Foppen.
Oh, it was so impressive, wasn't it? And I feel really sorry for Kibet there. 13.28. He did so much of the work, didn't he? Early on, he took them through 1K, 2K, and it's Zakayo just before 2.5K. He just decided to take the lead and really been rewarded with that good time. Just looking down some of those other results there. 17 finishers in the end.
So all eyes on the athletes at the far end of the arena. This is the middle of the bend, the second bend in this Manchester Regional Arena, which has provided a wonderful series of contests through this afternoon in very un-Manchester-like weather. I don't think anyone will mind me saying that locally. This is the wettest corner of the UK, isn't it? This sort of northwest corner of the UK, Jen. I mean, I was looking at you earlier, walking around in flip-flops. You've got webbed feet.
Well, Tim, I came with a sweater on at the beginning of this meeting.
I bet you can swim like a fish. Did you come along the canal to get here this afternoon?
Come on, Tim. I'm going to have to defend the northwest of England here. We do have good days occasionally.
No, I know. I can see that. Beautiful. It's been a lovely, lovely afternoon and evening. Richards next to go, though. Nate Richards. The USA with such enormous strength in depth. Chris Nielsen, an American, tops the world rankings with 6 meters exactly. Here he goes. Third and final attempt. Oh, no. Well, that confirms him in second place at the moment. 3 failures for Richards at 5.75. Cleared 5.65 at the second time of asking. But the USA have not only Chris Nielsen on top of the world rankings, but Clayton Fritsch has cleared 5.80. He's about 5th ranked in the world. Jacob Wooten is 6th ranked in the world with 5.80. Zach McWhorter, I mean, these are names that have not hit the international scene yet. They're new names to me. He's cleared 5.76, is 9th ranked in the world. And 10th ranked in the world, Austin Miller for the USA with 5.75. Coppola then, Jenny, 3rd attempt at 5.75.
Yeah, all or nothing. Oh, it wasn't a bad attempt. Not quite as good as his second attempt. So Harry Coppola he's the only one left in this competition who can do anything about the current standings. And Tim, really interesting, you said a lot of those American names, they're not the names that we know. I'm thinking about obviously Chris Nielsen, Casey Lightfoot, Sam Kendricks, Cole Walsh. They've just got an ever, kind of a production line, never ending, isn't it?
It is, absolutely. And when you think that Mondo Duplantis vaults for Sweden, but he spent most of his life in the USA, he's a product of the US system as well. Their stock is enormous, their talent stock, the production line, and the coaching knowledge too. The pool of coaching knowledge in the States is absolutely enormous. What do you think? I was going to say Harry Koppel, and the leader is Rutger Koppelaar. Do you think Koppel in Dutch is Koppelaar?
Could well be.
Well, Harry Koppel has one vault to come. Maybe, if he clears it, he might vault on. Here he is, got his nice big coat on to keep warm, but Harry Koppel with a 3rd and final attempt that could snatch the win at the death. Both his competitors ahead of him. Rutger Koppelaar leads, has failed 3rd time at 5.75. Nate Richards in 2nd place ahead of him, has failed 3 times at 5.75. And Harry Koppel, do you remember that instant last year at the Olympic Games where he, in practice just a few days before the Olympic final, he smashed his tooth on his pole, wasn't it?
It was.
In training.
Yeah, he's now got a full set of teeth again. It took him a while, but yeah, just one of those accidents that you have sometimes, But he's still got a smile, which is the important thing. But really interesting, he's not got the qualification standard, the qualification height for the world champs. He did vault 5.80 last year, but it wasn't within the qualification window. So Harry, this is his opener, and it's great that he's got 65, but even 75, if he clears this, wouldn't be enough for that World Championships. So he's got to make sure he gets in a few more competitions over the next few weekends. Hopefully he can get that 5.80 qualification standard.
Well, it's been a solid opening contest for Harry Kopp. This is his first outdoor competition of the year. He had 5 indoor competitions last winter, including winning the UK indoor title in Birmingham back in late February. 7th place in Tokyo. He was World Youth Champion back in 2013. He's been at this game now for many years. Plenty of experience. Can he use it here? 3rd attempt at 5.75. Oh no, another run through. Well, I'll tell you what, first outdoor competition of the season. His last contest before today was on the 6th of March. So 3 months since his last competition. I don't think 565 is a bad return as an opener.
Yeah, I think he'll take a lot from that. You know, exactly what you said earlier, Tim, with the hurdlers. You know, you need to get used to these technical events. You've got to get the competition in. Very much the same with the pole vault. I'm sure we'll see Harry Koppel having a busy few weeks now, touring around Europe, trying to get that qualification height.
Well, it does confirm the winners. Rutger Koppelaar of the Netherlands, his first-time clearance at 565. Good enough to win. He's the only athlete to do that. Nate Richards of the USA, second-time clearance at 565. Put him ahead of Harry Koppel, who finished third. Koppel had more failures at earlier heights. The sun is setting here in Birmingham, and that concludes the action here at the Manchester Regional Arena. And Jenny, I know you thought Geiger was fantastic in the steeplechase, and the strong running of Zakayo in the 5,000 was special too. For you, and any other high points?
I really enjoyed the women's sprint hurdles. That was really good, wasn't it? When Gravidar got under 13 seconds for the first time, that was pretty special.
It was indeed, yes. Gravesgaard winning that women's hurdles final with, what was it, 12.99, and that was into -2 metre per second wind, so there's clearly more to come for the Dane. Jenna Lim of the Netherlands, 13.02, setting a personal best, and again she's capable of well under 13 seconds with a more favourable wind. Jess Hunter, the best of the Brits, in third with a personal best again in 13.18, so great running from her, great sprint hurdling from her. Well, there is the Etihad Stadium, the home of Manchester City, the Premier League champions. Jen, which Premiership team do you follow? Are you blue or red or what?
Oh, I'm a red. Man United. Yeah,
Right.
we've not had a great year, Tim. We don't need to talk about that.
No, I think Brighton beat you, didn't they? I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said that. Who didn't beat you? It's a much shorter list. But back to the athletics, and I do hope you've enjoyed our coverage this afternoon and this evening here from the Manchester Regional Arena. It's a busy old weekend. There's Diamond League in Morocco on Sunday. There's athletics from Poland on Sunday, Chortsov. I think Jenny, you and I are covering that one, which will be fun to cover. High quality athletics, left, right and centre at the moment, as this extraordinarily rare season, a unique season of championship racing carries on in July and August. Remember those World Championships in late July in Eugene for 10 days, 1 week's break, and then the best of the Commonwealth will gather in Birmingham, just 100 miles or so south of here, and the European Championships a week after that in Munich in the Olympic Arena, the Olympic Stadium built for those 72 games. Jenny, a final word?
Yeah, just what a great spectacle it's been. So good to see so many youngsters taking part. We've had a lot of personal bests, a lot of seasons bests. Really great that this event is happening in Manchester, and thank you all for joining us.
Yes, thank you indeed. This from all of us here at this BoXX United Continental Tour on the 3rd of June from Sports City, Manchester. We'll say goodbye for now. Hope you've enjoyed our coverage, and we'll see you very soon. Thanks for being with us. Bye-bye.